is the Big O Show.
Oh, yes, it is. Welcome aboard.
This is the Big O Show.
Time to have a little fun here on the show. Good morning. Good Monday morning. Hope you guys are feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm in a good mood. I know the Dolphins lost yesterday, but I'm not like the folks out there that get all hung up on every little thing that happens. I know that there's a better organization in town. I know that they're headed in the right direction. So I'm not concerned about any of that. Yesterday, it was funny because we had some Dolphins that expected the win. And look, they had a chance. Obviously, you're playing Josh Allen. He's not a good quarterback. That's a guy that you've got a shot at because he's not accurate, right? And the Bills they're better. They've got more talent. Hey, the Bengals have way more talent than the Miami Dolphins. They're 0-10, and they're a worse team than the Dolphins. But that doesn't mean that they don't have more talent. And the Bills, they clearly had more talent the first time around, and Miami made that pretty damn interesting, right? And now, yesterday, it wasn't as interesting. They took control of that game and took over. And that's what you ended up seeing yesterday. It was a team that dominated. Physically, they're better. And they are more talented, more experienced. They have more depth. They have better players. And yesterday, they played accordingly. But it's funny because we did have a section of Dolphins that were kind of disappointed, which is kind of cool in a way because that means you actually have already developed some kind of expectations for the team. And it's kind of crazy for a team that has the worst talent in the NFL that you're actually going to have expectations. But that's the kind of coaching job that Flo and company have done. And listen, like I told you in the post-game podcast, if you missed it, don't forget, we file a post-game podcast every single time. And we got some other things that we're brewing that could be happening down the line. But anyway, can't talk about that now. But you got to a watershed moment when you score that touchdown and you have the onside kick. And you're marching down the field, and Allen Hurns has got a big play happening, and he fumbles. That could have ended in 7 more, and you're right there. That would have changed the complexion of the entire game. And that fumble changed the complexion the other way. Because obviously they recovered that fumble and marched right downfield and got 7, and it was over. There was that glimmer of hope. And you got to give Flo a lot of credit. One, he put his team in that position to do that. Now, he doesn't have great players. And listen, I'm not going to give Allen Hurns a break. The dude just signed a 2-year, $8 million contract. They just paid your ass. You got $3.2 million of it guaranteed. Dude, catch the ball. And no fumbles. Let's go. And I like Allen Hurns. He's a UMer. I want him to do well. He's a good kid. He's fought back from brutal injuries, too, in his career. Setbacks. And that's what ended up why he's here, because of those injuries. And he's been able to recover from those injuries, and he's a solid football player. And he had yesterday would have been a really good game yesterday if he hangs on to that big pass and he doesn't drop the other one. All of a sudden, not only Devontae Parker, you're saying, hey, Allen Hurns, he got that contract. This is why he got that contract. Now you kind of question the contract, right? And listen, I don't question the contract. Plus, it's a joke of a contract. $8 million for 2 years, $4 million for a wide receiver. That's not a high-paid wide receiver. And he's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be like a third guy, a possession-type guy. He's not your one or number 2. He and Jakeem will be your 3-4s, in other words. That's kind of the way it is. You still, Preston should be your number 1 and Devontae should be your number 2 or vice versa. In a perfect world, you're kind of looking at what your receiving core is going to look like next year. Already, right there. Preston, Devontae, Allen Hurns, and Jakeem Grant. You got 4 of your guys for next year. because Albert Wilson's definitely not coming back. He will be replaced by a draft pick. But it was funny and it was cool because those of you that have developed some kind of expectations, that's actually really, really cool. Because that means that the team has made an impact. It gets you to believe in them. Think about that. After the first 2 games, you would have never imagined that you were going to believe in this team. After the first 2 games, that's when Bill was looking at me going, yeah, dude, no, you're right. They won't win a damn game. And little did we know how bad the rest of the league is. Because that's really what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. It's not really that the Dolphins didn't do enough to tank or whatever because they tore their team down. They're not tanking, but they're resetting through youth. And you're going to lose a lot. But little did we know that there are just worse owners and worse front offices and worse coaches in this league than Brian Flores. And I'm not saying that Brian Flores is bad. He's done a really, really good job overall with the talent, with the lack of talent he has on this team. He has done an exceptional job as a coach.
So the rest of the league came back to us.
Or past us.
Well, yeah, actually they have.
The Bengals are
Washington's only got 1 win.
Right.
And it's against us.
But they beat Miami, so
Yeah, but that's before we started getting, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it, but still they beat Miami. So listen, they should beat Miami. And so should the Bengals in week 16. Miami has no business beating the Bengals, and they will beat the Bengals. There's no doubt they're going to beat the Bengals in my mind. But it was interesting because you got some Dolphins that were like pissed yesterday, okay? And I thought that was kind of cool that they were actually pissed about all of that. And that's because they had some kind of expectation from all this.
That's kind of crazy, man.
Yeah, no, but that's what 2 weeks of winning will do.
Right.
And then you've got another bad quarterback coming into town in Josh Allen, because make no mistakes, Josh Allen is a bad quarterback.
My, how far we have come from week 1 and 2, man.
Right. So that's where it all changes. And you become, a blind-ass fan for thinking and having expectations overall.
Blind-ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind-ass fan coming through.
Pretty accurate overall. Yeah, you got the blind-ass fans out there lined up, and you're wrong for thinking that way, for thinking that this team is going to be special or demanding any kind of wins or anything like that. It's a miracle that they've won 2 games. It's a miracle that they've been competitive the way they have. And then what changes, remember, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what happened yesterday. Buffalo had tape on you now from the first go-around. When you did stuff to them and you confused them a little bit and you made it difficult on them in order to beat you and all that stuff, this time they had the tape. They've watched what you've done now for the last couple of weeks since you've played them. Now they know what your limitations are, and there's a lot of them. Obviously, because you don't have a lot of talent, and you have guys that are probably limited in what they can and cannot do. And the good thing about this coaching staff is they've kind of figured out what players are, what they can and can't do, and that's why they've been able to at least be somewhat competitive, because they're usually putting their players in a position that at least they can attempt and make that play. Not that they're completely outmatched and they don't know that's probably what was happening the first couple of weeks. They were trying to figure everything out, and it took a couple of weeks to kind of figure out what strengths you have, what weaknesses you have, and where we put you. But now you have the second half of the season where you're going to run into some of these teams again, where there's more film on you. And so they will be able to play you a little better. And that's what happened yesterday. The Bills have better talent. Now they've got the knowledge that they needed. You're not going to surprise them anymore. You're not going to do the things you did to them in the first game where you made it somewhat interesting. Now you got manhandled. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. They're not better than the Bills. They weren't supposed to win the first time, and they weren't supposed to win yesterday. That's all. It's not a big. It's not anything to panic about. It's not anything to get pissed off about. I mean, most of you were expecting very little wins to no wins this year as it is. You've got two. It's kind of like the Heat. Remember I told you that when they rolled up to Denver already at that point, they had beaten Milwaukee and Houston, and there are no more surprises. The league saw it already. You're on SportsCenter. You're one of the lead stories in SportsCenter because you beat Milwaukee, because you beat Houston. You are no longer the upstart Heat. So when you rolled into Denver, they were ready for your ass. When you rolled into the Lakers, they were ready for your ass. They weren't like, oh, yeah, those are a bunch of young guys. Whatever. Yeah, no, they watched the film. They said, no. We got to watch these cats. That Kendrick Nunn kid can play, and that Tyler Hero kid can shoot. Bam Adebayo's electric. Jimmy Butler, we know what he is. And they gave you the respect, and that's it. And not that Miami's earned the respect, but now they've earned people's attention. Because don't you see that coaches have rolled the film now? Hey, they were in this game with these guys to the fourth quarter. Hey, they took these guys all the way to the end. Hey, they beat these guys. They beat these guys too. So if you're going to walk into this game thinking that they're going to be an easy game and they're going to roll over, you're wrong. And that's the other thing that the Dolphins have lost. Because you've won twice now, you're not that loser that everybody thought you were. Sure, you're going to be a loser. You're going to end up losing a lot of games. I get it. But that 0-16 stuff, the worst team in NFL history, all that's out the window. Nobody looks at the Dolphins that way anymore. Now they're ready for you. So when you roll into town and you go take on Cleveland, they're not disciplined, but they'll be ready for you now because they're going to watch it on tape that you've actually beaten some people and hung in there with others. And that's what happened yesterday. There were no more surprises. There were no more upstart crap. There was no more, this is the worst team in the NFL. The Bills took you seriously, and they made sure that they did not struggle like they did the first go-around when they probably didn't take you serious.
The first quarter and then 9 minutes of the second, what their defensive line was doing to our offensive line and moving around right before
the
snap.
Stunts and everything,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see that our offensive line was outclassed.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is,
the whole team is
outclassed. And at that point, 9 minutes into the second quarter, it's 16-0. The score ended up being a 17-point game. So we played them even after we got our shit together. And you know what that is? That's our coaches making adjustments and enabling us to compete.
Yeah.
Which is a really good sign again.
Yeah. But they can only do so much.
Also, the defense.
They can only do so much because they don't have talent.
Right, exactly.
And that's
exactly.
what happened, that it caught up to them in that game, that they did not have the line to match up with that
right.
D-line.
Yes.
They just didn't have
with
it.
The adjustments post 24 minutes into the game, and then our defense actually, those first 4 possessions, holding them to 3 field goals. That was a nice. Our defense did actually hold them. So, I mean, there's some good things that at least come out of the 24 minutes.
Dude, if Hearns doesn't fumble.
Yes, we are every bit.
The game is a completely different game.
Yeah.
And that's a credit to the coaches. But the coaches can't do the blocking and the catching and the running also for the players.
Right.
They can only call the plays, and they can only try to put the players in positions to be successful.
And they did.
And they did. And it's up to the players, but they're not good enough. That's all. It is what it is. Nobody should be shocked.
Here.
If you are pissed off right now as a Dolphin and you're walking around all frustrated, you're doing it for no reason at all. It's just like the same thing that's going on with the whole Tua thing. It's all the same thing. People are overreacting because the poor kid got injured, and whether his career's in doubt or not, I don't know. But it's all of a sudden, well, now, what are we building for? What are we doing? It's like, do you think like football stopped? It's over now? Why? Because he was the best passer? I get it. But he's not a healthy guy. So now you got to move on. And whether it's Joe Burrow or I don't know who else you want to get. Jacob Eason or Jake Fromm or Love or whatever. I don't care. Let them figure it out. I know this. I'm going to be in Vegas with hundreds and thousands of Dolphin fans, and I'm going to be loving life, watching them load up and bring in a bunch of good players. And like I told you in the podcast yesterday, if they get a quarterback, they get a quarterback. If they don't, what is all of a sudden, am I going to stop being a Dolphins fan or something? They'll figure it out. Let them. That's their job. Find a quarterback. And last year they got one in Rosen out of nothing. That means they're going to keep searching, and they'll find another one this year. Maybe they don't get the guy in the first round. Maybe they get a guy in the middle rounds. Maybe they trade for a guy. Hopefully not Cam Newton, because that would be ridiculous. Just some people talk about Cam Newton. That's just stupid.
Supposedly
It's
the
ridiculous.
situation with Tua, I heard this morning, the fact that they were able to kind of stabilize the hip situation and reduce the swelling before he even flew to Birmingham is very encouraging. Supposedly was going into surgery this morning.
Yeah.
And they are encouraged that with what the action they were able to take on the field and the response that the hip had, that this should bode better than they're expecting.
That's fine. It doesn't make a difference to me.
You know what? Listen, 24
Does nothing for me.
24 games. This is his fourth surgery
I-
out of 24 college games. That's a horrible
I was
ratio.
officially off the bandwagon last week. I'm on record.
when he's limping at the end of the game.
I'm
on, the
on
sideline.
record
Yeah.
already. I said last week
For
on the
sure.
show, I'm done. I'm not taking the
It's
kid.
not worth the risk.
I'm not taking the kid. He's a sack of injuries. He's fragile, like most of us would be in that brutal game. I wouldn't last 2 minutes in football. My body would break down. They would tear every ligament off my body. You got to be a freak to last in this game, and he's not even a big guy. Where like Cam Newton and Andrew Luck could take a beating for a while and then eventually break down. And Ryan Tannehill was very fortunate for several years, taking a beating and a beating and a beating, and eventually it caught up to him. And now, how's Ryan now? Now Ryan is injury prone now, right? Now Ryan gets injured all the time.
What's Tua go? 6'2", 215, 210, if that?
Maybe,
right?
maybe.
But he's
maybe.
6'2", right?
I don't even know if he's really 6'2".
Okay.
But, I don't know what the measurement really is for the kid, but he doesn't look like a big kid, and he's injury prone. He can't stay healthy in a college football season. There is no way I would spend a first-round pick on Tua at all, okay? There's no way that I would spend a first round at all. Second rounder, maybe, if he's healthy enough and you want to take a chance and you want to throw away a second rounder, I got no problem taking a project or a risk in the second round. But Miami's got several first-round picks, and I'd rather you focus on getting, if you can't get another quarterback that's healthy, get a tackle, get a defensive end, get a shutdown corner, get a number one wide receiver. Get me those other impact positions. That's what you should do. That's what's responsible right now. It's irresponsible to take Tua. In fact, we had Will Carroll on, the injury expert. Can you pull up that soundbite for me, please? And Will, first of all, we had him on yesterday, and it's an interview you need to listen to because it's extremely informative, and it kind of puts the kibosh on a lot of the stories that are out there, and people like comparing the injury to Bo Jackson's, which is wrong, but he explained a lot of things in that interview. It's really in depth, and if you get a chance, go listen to the Will Carroll podcast with us. Will be on again on Friday with us. He's going to be on every Friday from here on out with us, actually. So we'll have a little fun with Will here on the show on a permanent basis, like we have for many, many years now. So Will join us on every Friday here on the program. Here's Will Carroll explaining the injury to Tua.
Well, they have been pretty transparent about this. We know what the injury is. We all saw how it happened, and that gives us some idea. So Bo Jackson is not the correct comp, and let me tell you why. It's just too easy. Bo Jackson had two things. First, he had a hip fracture, and second, he had a condition called a vascular necrosis, which it's easy to say his bone just died. His was in the femur, the head of the femur that goes into the hip. Now, the bone goes straight up in your leg from your knee up to your hip, and then there's a head that goes into the hip. That's snapped off, basically, and that's always problematic. It's not very well supplied with blood, and a vascular necrosis is always a problem. When that happens, you have to take it out. You have to replace it, and Bo was able to come back and play baseball, amazingly. Football, not so much. Now, what Tua Tagovailoa has is an acetabular fracture, and that's not a term most people are used to. The acetabulum is basically the hip joint itself. Rather than the bone coming into it, it's you would think of it as your pelvis. It's that cup that makes up the hip joint. Now, his fracture is at the back. So basically think of it back, kind of inside his butt. You saw how he landed. The force was just too much. Two guys on him. He was twisting, and it was exposed. And you have to think it's an impact fracture rather than a torsion fracture like him twisting, because your body just can't twist that much and stay together. So this is a fracture dislocation.
There you go. That is Will Carroll talking a little bit about that injury, and see how he was kind of describing how it's not like the Bo Jackson injury. Okay. And look, we don't know where he's going to be when it's all said and done, how he rehabs, how he's, they say he's going to make a full recovery and all of that. That doesn't mean anything to me at all. I don't care that he's going to make an absolutely full recovery. Let's hear Will Carroll now compare the injury, okay? Because a lot of people have been comparing it to Bo Jackson. Will has a better example of what this Tua injury is like.
So when it broke, that cup broke. You know what happens when you break a cup.
Right.
Things spill out. The problem is it was his hip. So that was the cause of the pain. We know dislocations are extremely painful. So they weren't able to reduce that on the field, which is why he was seen in such pain. Reports where he was screaming. I have no problem with that. People are saying, you got to suck it up. No. Hip dislocation is not something you suck up. They got him on a plane. They took him back to Birmingham to Andrews Sports Medicine. There's no better place for him. So what he has is an acetabular fracture on the posterior aspect. The dislocation has been reduced surgically. His season is absolutely done, and there's only one player that's a really good comp for this. You'll probably remember him, It's Dennis Pitta.
Oh, yeah. And Dennis Pitta had, oh, my Lord, that poor man had injury after injury after injury. In fact, I think he dislocated that hip a second time, if I'm correct.
Yes, he did. That was the problem, is the bone was weakened. It didn't heal all the way, and after what he had, which was a posterior fracture with dislocation, they were just never able to get it back. Now, he was able to get back on the field, but as you said, he just couldn't hold up, was out of the league. The guy's only 34. I was actually last night trying to find out what he's doing these days and get hold of him. Haven't been able to do that. But there's your comp. So Is it possible to come back from this? Yes. Is it possible to come back well? That remains to be seen.
And listen, we're talking about a kid that is injury prone. And if you want to hear that whole interview, go to our podcast, as you always do, those of you that have subscribed, and catch that interview. It's a great interview, as always. I mean, Will Carroll is the best when it comes to all of that. And he's just a kid that I don't trust. That's why I was off the bandwagon last week, and I said I'm not taking him with Miami's first-round pick. I'm not. And that was before the hip injury. I don't look, this is not a matter of being cold and callous and rude or whatever it is. This is something we got to talk about, okay? Because the Dolphins have got a high investment in all of this. And I don't want to be I'm not trying to be insensitive or anything like that. I wish the kid the best. I hope he comes back healthy. I hope he has a Hall of Fame career, never has another injury again in his life, and he gets to play the game he loves. And I hope I'm dead wrong, because it's not going to make my life any better or any worse if I'm right or wrong in stupid-ass sports predictions. Okay? Doesn't do any good for me. All right?
You're not being harsh. You're just being like you always are, real.
Yeah.
Okay?
And just because some people are like, well, do you have to, because I got it on Twitter yesterday, do you have to already get into all those things? Yeah, I do, because that's what I do for a living. We talk Dolphins here. This affects the Dolphins. But to me, I was already off his bandwagon last week. This convinces me you got to stay away from him. He will never be healthy, whether it's a hip or not. This kid can't stay healthy at the college level.
He's got both ankles. Now with the hip.
Did you watch the Pittsburgh Browns game? Did you watch the hits in that game? Do you watch the hits every week in the NFL? There is no way Tua stays healthy in this league. I mean, look, we've been going through all of this stuff with Lamar Jackson. MVP, having a great season, kids playing out of his mind. I still don't believe in this style of play, because eventually somebody's going to catch up to the kid while he's running out in the open field, because it happens to all of them. Every one of these running quarterbacks, eventually it catches up to you. It's one of those things. And with this young man, unfortunately, he has proven to us he can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy in a football practice. He can't stay healthy in a football game. He is a liability, unfortunately, because, like most of us, you and me included, we're not made for football. Sure, you and I played football as kids, and we had some fun, and I had my tackle games in the mud and the rain and all that stuff with my friends when we were kids, and we were made like rubber bands. That's fine. But as grown-ass men, we didn't have the God-given ability to play at the NFL level, and then have the kind of bodies that can put up with that kind of pounding. And Tua clearly does not have that body. Like I said over the weekend, he's the Yatil Green of quarterbacks. And I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm not trying to make fun of it. I'm not trying to make a joke of it, because I feel terrible for Yatil Green that he never was able to play the game that he loves, clearly. And the game that he had a skill set to play with. I mean, Yatil Green could have been a star in the NFL. That's the kind of ability that the good Lord gave that man. He gave him an ability that was sick. And yet, his body could never take the pounding. His body, I ripped Jimmy when he drafted Yatil. I mean, ripped him that day in the draft. Obviously, people were all over me too. Oh, you're being negative. Maybe hope. No, I watched him at UM, breaking down every time. I was on the sidelines many times, because back in those days, you could actually cover college football games and go down and be on the field for all 4 quarters. You can go anytime. The NFL was the last 6 minutes. When I was on a beat, it was the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter that you could be on the field. In college, when I was on the beat, you could be on the field the entire 4 quarters. In fact, I think I brought you down to a Syracuse game,
Brad,
right?
I was just going to say, Syracuse, Donovan McNabb's freshman year.
Right.
And standing there and watching Syracuse come out of the locker room, right, to start the game. I remember standing there. And you and me are not small people. But looking at that offensive line, it's like,
right.
I said to you, these are dinosaur human beings, bro.
Right.
They shouldn't build them that big.
And by the way, you did something that they do not allow anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even think they allow the media on the field at the end of the game anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's how it is.
The Dolphin game, Don Shula's last home game
Yeah.
against Kansas City. I was with you, fortunate enough, and we were down on the sideline. I remember, and Nat Moore was close to us, and Nat was complaining about, hey, blah, 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 that was pass interference. And yeah, Nat, just like when you were a player, you got a lot of calls.
Yeah.
Come on, stop.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yep. So I get it, but this
You know what, O?
This
Do
is,
the math. 24 games in college. And let's face it, NFL is tougher, okay? By far, 24.
He doesn't play 24.
24 games is a season and a half in the NFL. This kid has 4 surgeries in college.
Yeah.
How can you expect
I want no part
in
of
any
Tua.
capacity that this translates to the NFL and this guy stays on the field?
And here's the interesting part. The folks out there that will say take a chance on Tua, you guys will be tearing the Dolphins a new ass when Tua breaks down again, and you'll be the ones, you hypocrites, that will be calling the Dolphins out saying, oh, you guys are dumb for taking him. And meanwhile, you wanted him to. You wanted to take him. You wanted to take the chance. I'm not going to be phony in any way, shape, or form. The Dolphins need to stay away from Tua. He's nothing but a sack of injuries. Unfortunately, that's the reality. The kid's a hell of a passer. Okay? There is no doubt I have not shied away from that for one moment. I have
You
told
love
you,
his accuracy. You love
you
his
can't
accuracy.
teach that. You can't teach it, bro. You cannot teach accuracy. I don't care what any coach tells you. You either have it or you don't. You can fine-tune it. You can't teach it. You either have it or you don't. That's it. It's the way it is. And so I love him as a passer, but I hate him as a player because you're not durable, bro. And if you're not durable, you are no good to me. That's the way I look at it.
Let me throw the twist. He's there. He does his college season next year. Next year he goes into the draft. What round?
Oh, so you're saying he goes back into the senior year?
He goes. He's
goes
going to
back.
have to. He's got to.
No, he doesn't.
You don't think so?
Maybe I want to take another chance again because then this way at least somebody takes a chance on you. They give you money and you get something out of it.
That's my question. Whenever he hits the draft, what round he's still sitting there, do you take a flyer?
Oh, second on.
The second, really?
Oh, yeah.
You don't even wait for the third or fourth. You
No,
second round, you take a shot.
Yeah, you got, 3 picks or 2 picks
Right.
in the second round?
It's only because of the plethora that you have
Yeah.
to throw one there and what you could possibly
How
hit
else
on.
do they, yeah.
Okay, so second round.
Yeah, I'm not
if this-
taking my first rounder with him.
Okay, so
Because I want to get a pass rusher, and I want to get a tackle,
No,
and I
like
want to
you've-
get a corner. And
we have too many holes.
and there's
Yes.
so many great players that you can get in the first
impact,
round.
like you said, major impact guys.
And you have all those second rounders. If he's there in the second round, you want to take a chance. I get it. It's like the Chad Henne thing. I wasn't a Chad Henne guy, but taking him in the second round with the plethora of experience that he had 4 years of starting,
Yes.
and 10,000 plus yards, and played in several big games and all that. And he lit up the Gators in a bowl game that year.
At the in Gainesville.
Gainesville.
No, it was Orlando. It was Orlando.
right,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
He threw for like 500 yards on the Gators
Yeah.
that offseason. So when the Dolphins took him, I said, I was open about it. I said, hey, I'm not a fan of Chad Henne, but that's not a bad pick where Miami took him because of the experience and everything. And it was a solid try. It didn't work out, but it's not the end of the world at the 50th pick. I want to say he was 50 or 54th pick in the draft. Dude, that's fine. That's a
On the
late
scale,
second
on the scale,
rounder
it's worth it. The
with that
risk, war,
experience.
reward. Yeah.
I've never called that a terrible pick. It didn't work out. That's fine, but it wasn't a terrible pick. If they would have picked him in the first round, I would have been ripping the freaking Dolphins.
So you're saying if Tua's there at
Yeah.
the 33rd pick,
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with projects.
it's
in
worth
second
the
round.
risk.
Yeah,
It's
I don't have
okay.
a problem with that. I wouldn't have had a problem with Ryan Tannehill in the second round. I didn't like Ryan Tannehill either, but I understood the second round value of it because he's an athlete.
Right.
And because maybe you can turn him into a quarterback. But the 8th overall pick in the draft, that's why I ripped your ass.
Risk reward doesn't balance.
No,
right.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. If I'm taking anyone with the 8th pick in the draft, that dude's got to start for me for 10 years. That dude's got to be a star for me for a long time to come. If I'm taking you number 8, You got to be an impactful player for me. I cannot miss. I have to hit on that. And quarterbacks, you're going to miss more often than not.
Yes.
Now, if you take a project quarterback, man, there's like a 90% chance you're going to swing and miss. So why are you doing that? You take him in the second round.
And
I got no problem with that because the upside is amazing. The downside is not that bad because, okay, second rounder's still a really good pick, but it's worth that risk.
a lot of the reason why you have this, but let's face it, is because we have so many ones and twos in the next 2 years that you can risk one, right?
Yes.
If we had 1, 1, 1, 2 for the next, if we only had those
No,
four,
then I'm not
it's
taking-
right. Okay,
Then
I
I'm
just
not-
want to
I'm not
clarify.
even-
Right,
He's not even on my draft board.
right. I wanted to clarify. It's just
I mean,
because we have
maybe
so
fourth
many.
round or something, you know.
Okay,
You
yeah.
want to take Tua at that point, but because Miami has all those picks, I'm just
You could take a flyer.
the only thing I'm doing is I'm not spending my first rounder on the kid. That's all. There's just way
Not
too
any
many.
one of them. Not any one of them.
If I can get Chase Young, I'm gonna get Chase Young, dude. If I can get the Wirfs guy from Iowa to line up at tackle, then I'm gonna do it.
How about the Wisconsin center kid? I guess.
Kadu guy, the cornerback from Ohio State? I'm getting him, bro. I mean, there are certain players that you want in this draft, and you got to have them, and you need them badly. And look, I'm not even sure if Chase fits exactly what they want to do. Because I'm not sure what they're going to do because they don't really pay defensive ends in New England. If they're not going to pay defensive ends in New England, is that kind of what he's going to do here, that he's going to be scheme
You got to
guy?
figure the philosophy carries down to us, right?
Yeah, because he's going to be he wants guys that are multiple. And maybe he doesn't want to also spend crazy on one defensive end because then that takes away from everything else. I don't know how he's going to do it because every year those guys trade guys. Oh, they're trading away Jamie Collins. Oh, they're trading away this guy, that guy. And yet they still end up, Trey Flowers is gone. He's in Detroit.
That defense right now
And
is
they're-
sick.
And it's better than it's been. And they got rid of several guys. I'm not sure how they're going to work things there in Miami. But there's a part of me that says they're not going to be falling in love and paying a ton of players. Like, I think they're going to follow along the lines of
The
what New England
blueprint has
does.
been established. That's where he comes from. That's the
Yeah.
blueprint he's going to go with.
Right, because look what he's doing with his team as he shuffles guys around and tries to make them multiple as it is. I think he's going to do a lot of that in this defense. And in a 3-4, Chase Young might be a waste at defensive end. Because on a 3-4, then he's dealing with a lot of double teams. He's not really going to be the terrorizer that he would be in a 4-3. That would be different. So then do you draft him, and is he talented enough and athletic enough that you can make him an outside linebacker? So then you can make him your main pass rusher, and how is he in coverage? These are things I'm not sure of with Chase Young. I gotta get those questions answered. I'm not sure. I gotta ask the pros because I can't say I've watched every down and that I've seen him in all those different kinds of scenarios. I'd be lying to you if I told you I have.
Just personal preference question. What D do you prefer, a 4-3 or a 3-4?
A good one.
Well, I mean, which one do you prefer?
They both can be effective, Bill. So I don't care. I just want a great team, dude. I don't care if it's the run and shoot or if it's 3 yards.
You just want it
and
effective
pound the
and
crap.
dominate a team and win games.
Yeah, I don't care if you have to run the ball 300 yards a game and you only pass 70 yards, but you're winning all your games. I'm good with that too, bro.
Well, passing,
I-
there's more risk.
I don't-
Passing is more risk.
Whatever you want to do, I don't care if you're a 3-4, 4-3. I just want a great Dolphins team. Period. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Okay.
Whatever it takes.
All right.
And I kind of like if you're going to come in and out of 3-4 and you're going to be multiple, and some teams you got to play 3-4, some teams you got to go 4-3. If you're going to have that kind of personnel, then I'm all for that too. That's fine.
The more versatile you are, you know, we see teams matchup things are major in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like basketball. You try to create that mismatch and stuff. That's why a lot of times you see number one receivers be put in the slot, so they get that number three corner.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where the NFL is a lot about that. And if you're diverse enough to do a 4-3-3-4 flow and go, you never have a weakness. You know, you match up against more teams.
I don't know how they're going to handle it. I don't care. I just want the Dolphins to win, bro. And
Bottom line.
And that's why I tell people that it's funny because, like, Tua gets injured, and for some Dolphin fans, it's like the world is over already. And that was the only quarterback that you were going to take. And you weren't really going to have a shot at him anyways because Cincinnati's got the number one pick in the draft. And they're going to take a quarterback. There's no doubt that they'll take Tua anyway. Poor kid, he ends up with Mike Brown. So you weren't going to get Tua anyway. I don't know who you were going to end up with. But it's not over. See, the problem is we have this microwave society attitude, and you think that because you didn't get Tua, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait anyways. This process is going to take several years. This is not going to happen overnight. And that all of a sudden you're going to land every right piece this offseason, and that next year you're going to become a playoff team and a contender. That's just ridiculous. They're not going to go from barely winning some games to all of a sudden becoming a team that's going to win. Look what's going on with the Browns. They got a bunch of talent, and they still haven't figured everything out because it's not that easy. It just doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while, and you have to have a culture established. It has to be in place. And that's something you see with the Heat, that they add a bunch of young kids to go along with what they have, and there's a quicker turnaround. Why? Because there's a culture in place. Now, in basketball, you need less people to make an impact and all that good stuff, so you can make a quick change and a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it's easier to get 5 guys to gel than 11.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where you can turn things around a lot faster, but my point is having the culture in place helps you turn that around. And that would be the same thing in football, that if you have the culture in place, once you get the players and then you have that turnover, you will then be able to continue to have success, and you won't have that drop-off like the Patriots. They don't have much of that drop-off because they have a culture in place, because there's a system in place, and they find the next guy, and that's what they're trying to do here. That's why I told you last week that winning is important, because winning establishes the culture, winning establishes the message, and what the message flow is sending, it works. Because even in losing, he can walk into that film room today and say, we hang on to that football, Allen Hurns. It's a different ball game. And everybody in that room knows exactly what he's talking about. Because the last couple of weeks, when they did things the right way, they got a chance to win a game. Yesterday, you, after getting your ass kicked and you're down 16-0, all of a sudden you found a way to score. Then you made a huge ballsy play, which kudos to Flores playing with those kind of cojones.
Beautiful. That was beautiful.
I mean, that's coaching. And you end up recovering that ball and you're marching for more points. Worst case scenario 3, best case scenario 7, and it could be 16-14. And it is a different ball game at that point. And that's where he can stand there in the meeting room and say, if we did this, this, and this, we have a different result. And they will see that. And that's why he gets the effort he's getting from these guys, which is part of the culture. The fact that you went through those first 2 games, survived all of that, and these guys still believe to this day, and they're playing as hard as they're playing, that's all you need to know about what flow is all about. It's pretty impressive, man. I mean, this is one of those deals when you look at the big picture, what flow is doing is studly. It's as studly as it gets to be able to do this.
What he is getting out of that talent, no, I don't know that anybody else does that. I mean,
Nobody.
he's really
Nobody.
taking it to another level, man. 'cause
Nobody.
we have no talent.
And if they find a way to win that game yesterday, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And next week against Cleveland, Cleveland has 10 times the amount of talent that Miami has. But Cleveland commits 4 billion penalties. They make mistakes left and right. They're poorly coached. Miami will have a chance in that game only because the other team is so undisciplined. Miami's not good enough. Miami's not talented enough. Miami's not deep enough. Miami's not experienced enough. But they're well coached overall. So they'll give themselves a fighting chance if the other team allows it. And next week, they should lose to Cleveland, but there will be a glimmer of hope only because you're playing another team that has warts. And that's the Cleveland Browns. They've got warts. They've got tons of warts. It's an ugly team.
I got a personal question here. Boeheim, that holding call, that was a
Yeah, 21
pancake.
run by, which again would have led to more points.
Pancake. He gets called for it was horrible.
Yeah.
Do you think, because Flores is so about no penalties and make you run to the wall and all that, do you think he gets penalized at all for that call? Because it really wasn't a penalty.
Oh, I mean, what can I tell you?
Yeah, that was almost as bad as the Hopkins pass interference call that
was,
they send it to New York and New York still says no.
That was
it's
bad.
like, man,
that was bad.
Come on.
That was bad. George says, focus on the big picture. Exactly. That's what it's all about, baby. Nico, missing Raekwon hurt them yesterday, too, and Taco, too. When will Kalen be benched? The guy literally can't hit a hole, make a man miss, or break tackles. I think this was the last week for Kalen Ballage. And plus, this kid, Laird, he's productive, man. Plays all right, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Laird should start next week. He really should. They should give him the start for the next 2 weeks while this kid comes back, Mark Walton. I'd rather, because Ballage, it's horrible to see. I'm wondering, how did he have success last year? How did he play so well last year? And then this year, he looks so lost. It's really odd because he looked like a really productive back last year. He looked like a multifaceted back, too, because he was running, he was catching the ball. He looked powerful and strong and a big guy that can motor. It was impressive last year the way Kalen Ballage looked. In this offense, wow, he looks terrible.
Do you think with Fitz doing the quarterback sneak on the 4th and 1, do you think Ballage not getting the ball, that decision's already been made?
I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. Devontae Parker looked good yesterday. No, Devontae Parker's looked good all season. Okay, let's be honest now. Let's give Devontae Parker the love that he deserves, folks. Okay? He's been their best receiver now this year because Preston's gone. So he's the best receiver this year on the team. And I know that's not saying a lot because they're not deep, but he has been consistent. He has caught a lot of balls now. He's not really dropping that many anymore.
Stayed healthy.
And that's the most important part, that's why he's productive, because he finally stayed healthy. It's the funny part with Devontae is nobody ever doubted the ability. It's always everybody doubted the availability. And that's his problem. Because he's never available, that was the reason why you never saw him on the field and never could be productive, because he always had some kind of ailment. And maybe now he's figured out his body. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe,
he should have had a touchdown.
Maybe he gets on that roll that Fred Taylor got on when he figured out his body and went like 6-7 years without an injury after several injuries his first couple of years. And then he kind of figured out how to train and condition and what he had to eat and all that kind of stuff. I hope that that's the case for Devontae Parker, that it's either the bad luck's over or he figured out what he needs to eat and train and how to keep his body fine-tuned. Because, again, that's the thing about this sport. That's why we talked about the whole Tua thing. It's either your body's made for it or it's not. And if you're a freak and you can stay healthy, it's a miracle. The good Lord blessed you with the durability that most people just don't have, because most of us would crumble like a cookie if we played in the NFL. There's no way we could take the kind of hits that they deliver in the NFL. Takes a special dude, and hopefully Devontae Parker has kind of figured that out.
He should have had a touchdown yesterday, man. Yeah. I'm really not happy with Gesicki. All he had to do was get in front of that guy. Just get in front of him.
Yeah,
you know,
Gesicki's never going to be the guy that that blocks.
You know what, though? Look, little wide receivers can learn to block. You're a big tight end, bro. They need to take him off over to the side, get him on a sled. And, dude, you got to learn how to block or at least get in the way. If he just gets in the way of that guy, Parker goes to the end zone.
Yeah, well, you can sit there and whine with Omar Kelly about blocking and Mike Gesicki. I'm not worried about that, bro. That's not what they brought him here for. And if you keep worrying and thinking that he's going to become a blocker, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
But he's got to improve, though, right?
He's not going to do that,
It's
bro.
not going to happen. You can't coach it?
Is Antonio Gates pushing anybody around for 20 years? He never did that. You don't remember Antonio Gates blocking. It's not what they brought him there for. Tony Gonzalez is not running anybody over and helping you gain, 4 yards.
Yeah, but at least get in the way of that little defensive back, man.
It's not what he is.
Get in the way, bro.
It's not what he is. I know. And maybe one day he'll do it, and it'll be luck. It'll be like the athletic quarterback that wows you with a couple of games, a half a season of playing incredible football only because he's a great athlete and he'll be able to get away with it. Will he be able to be consistent? No. Will Mike Gesicki at one point or another wow you and freak you out with a block or two? Of course he will. Everybody will. But more often than not, Mike Gesicki is going to fail you in blocking because that's not what he's trying to do. Okay. And that's not what he is. Michael Brennan, by the way, says, isn't that why the Dolphins chose Culpepper over Breeze? And they chose Culpepper over Breeze because of the knee over the shoulder. That's all. Not because of durability, because I put out there durability, and that had nothing to do with it. That was Breeze's first serious injury, actually, that shoulder. It was more of an unknown in those days. They didn't have enough information on shoulder injuries and how it would affect the quarterback on a long-term basis, whereas the knee injury was something that they had already overcome at this point, that you can come back from knee injuries. It wasn't something like it was 30, 40 years ago that when you had a knee injury, it was the end of your career. And that's what drove that decision. It had nothing to do with being injury-prone. Tua is injury-prone. It's not just the hip. And if you heard the Will Carroll soundbite, it's not that he could be Dennis Pitta all over again, which he could be. That's a major problem. And that's why I would stay away from him.
Do you know that you've pretty much already done an hour, sir?
Wow. That is...
yeah, we need to pay some bills just for a brief moment.
All right, we do want to remind you, and we want to also welcome East Coast Public Adjusters as a new sponsor of our program, a great company. And, folks, if you got a leaky roof, there's only 10 months left to open your IRMA claim. Don't settle for less. For a free inspection, call East Coast Public Adjusters at 855-GET-ECPA. That's 855-GET-ECPA.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, welcome back.
This is the Big O Show.
Hour number dos del programa. We take you, of course, till about 2:45, I would say. At 2:30, Brian Flores will address the media, and we will carry that press conference for you and then give you our thoughts on any news that broke, any comments that he said like we normally do, and then we'll wrap it up here on the show. Joe Shad, Palm Beach Post Dolphins beat writer, will join us at 1 o'clock. Looking forward to having Joe on and talk a little with Joe on the program, talk a little bit about the Dolphins, get his thoughts on it. Remember, you can always reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. That's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program, because we always enjoy having you on. And remember, Twitter, Big O Show, on YouTube, which I see plenty of people there chatting on YouTube, and always appreciate those of you. If you want to chat on the YouTube board, not an issue. And, of course, on Twitter at Big O Show. So many different ways to reach out to us. Ray says, Colin don't deserve to be in the NFL after that clown show on Saturday. And look, the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, I don't care about the political side of it, okay? I don't get into all that ridiculous stuff, okay? I don't care about – it does nothing to me about him kneeling. And he's not disrespecting the military or any of that. Those of you that want to interpret it that way, hey, that's your right, man. You want to use it that way, go ahead. And you want to be, all political about it, go ahead. I don't care about any of that stuff. It just doesn't make a difference to me. What I will tell you is this. Like I said over the weekend, I know the NFL blackballed him. You know that. I know that. We all know that. But I wasn't born yesterday. And Colin and his people, they're doing all of this for show. Colin has no intention on being a quarterback. Do you understand that? Okay? None. He doesn't care about being a quarterback. If you care about being something, you will do whatever it is you have to do to be that person. Okay? You love sales, and you got to drive to Palm Beach, and you live in Dade County, you'll get your sales job in Palm Beach because you're doing what you love. And if you love to bartend and they got rid of you in Miami Beach, you're going to look, and you love bartending, you're going to go to the Grove, you're going to go to Midtown, you're going to go somewhere where there's other bars, you're going to try to get a job there because you love bartending. That's the way it is. And when Warren Moon loved football, the NFL didn't blackball him, but the NFL told Warren Moon, you're not good enough. And he went to the CFL. Jeff Garcia wasn't blackballed, but he was told by the NFL, you're not good enough. And he went to the CFL. Cam Wake wasn't blackballed, but he was told by the NFL, you're not good enough. Same thing, you can't play here. He went to the CFL. Mark Dixon, Doug Flutie. I can go on and on. Does he really want to be a quarterback? Because he could have gone to the CFL years ago and balled out. And that's the political way of doing it. You go to the CFL and ball out. Half the fans in the NFL will see it because you're Colin Kaepernick. You'll be on ESPN. They'll have all your highlights because you're Colin Kaepernick. And you're kicking ass in the CFL. Do you know what that does now? All of a sudden, it forces half the fan bases in the NFL to get in an uproar and say, why aren't you signing him? But if your stupid ass is sitting outside, not playing football, not doing it, not showcasing your skills, just running your mouth, that does nothing. And that allows the NFL to say, well, we haven't seen him. He hasn't played. Well, he hasn't been in football for 3 years. It's a different game now. We don't know if he's lost his athleticism. And you think working out in some high school field is going to answer those questions? That doesn't answer a question. You haven't played against a real defense. In 3 years, you haven't faced NFL speed defenses. And throwing to some schmuck running routes in air does nothing to prepare you for that. But if you would have been in the CFL right away because you really wanted to be a quarterback. I mean, I really like to do radio, don't I? Because I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I could go into 15 other careers if I felt like it. You know how many other jobs I was already offered? Because people thought, well, you know, you're not going to do radio anymore. And I was like, and I didn't really want to get another radio job. I didn't. But then they gave me this idea, because actually this was not my idea. Somebody actually enlightened me and told me, you need to do this. This is where we're going. And they were right. And I love to do this. And I'm going to still be on Sirius, but I'm only doing fill-in stuff there. Why? Because I'm focused. This thing's taken off. This thing's been incredible.
Thanks to the listeners.
Yeah.
Sponsors, both.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sick. It's crazy. But I'm doing it because I love this. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking sports. I enjoy interacting with all of you out there. So I am working my ass off, and so is Bill, of course, to make this happen because we love this. How much does Colin Kaepernick love being a quarterback? Because I don't think he does. I think his ass got lazy once he got paid by Nike to be the mouthpiece, to be the poster child, and that little crap on Saturday. Well, you don't want to sign a waiver? Why? They should be responsible for you, dude? If you get injured and all that? Again, you don't have it. When you want a job, what do? Don't you go to that interview and say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. When can you start? Right now. You ever told somebody that when you're interviewing for a job? When are you available? I'm available right now. Let's go. Usually they don't take you up on it, but they'll say, all right, no, yeah, let's start on Monday. But you tell them, right now I'm ready to work. Because you want it. That's kind of what this is all about. So tell me, how much does he want it? Because other guys go to play in the UFL, in the XFL, in the Arena League. Oronde Gadsden and Kurt Warner had to play in the Arena League because they love football. How much does Colin Kaepernick really love football? Think about that one. Because in my book, I think he's full of crap. Okay? I think he gave up on being a football player. I think that was all show. There was no substance behind any of that. The guy sued the league, and now he wants a job. Why don't you go sue a place that you want to work at? Go ahead. Go sue Exxon, and then go ask them for a job. Go sue Kendall Regional Hospital, and then ask them for a job. Let's see how that works out for you. Come on, man. Well, we were born yesterday or something? I mean, how stupid and naive do we have to be? And I love when he says, all 32 teams call me. I'm ready to go. I've been ready to play. Well, if you're ready to play, you would have been playing already. You would have been playing somewhere else and working your way back and proving to people, because you don't prove jack doing a Nike commercial. You don't prove jack throwing to some schmucks out in some high school football field. That doesn't prove anything. Now, you would have gone to the CFL and balled. You would have gotten the support you wanted. Like I said over the weekend, the NFL got Colin Kaepernick and made him their bitch. Okay? He got his little check in his lawsuit, and they made him sign a confidentiality agreement, and they put him in a corner. And they said, yeah, here's your little check. Now go to the corner and shut the hell up. And his stupid ass took the check and went to the corner. If you really wanted to take on the NFL, you go to the CFL and you ball out. And you sue them, and you don't sign no confidentiality agreement. You take it public. And you make sure that when you win that lawsuit and whatever money, everybody finds out about it. That's how you do it. You show up the NFL. But the NFL has better and more expensive lawyers than you do, and that's why they made you take your little check and go to the corner and shut the hell up. And now, when you ask for a workout, they give you a half-ass workout in the middle of the season so they can sweep it under the rug. This league is Teflon. You're not bringing it down. You're not going to hurt it whatsoever, Colin Kaepernick. You and your representatives are incredibly stupid. You didn't know how to handle this whole situation. But you made your money. You got your Nike check. You got your check from the NFL. Now get your ass out of here and go off and ride off into the sunset. Because you're never going to play football in the NFL again. Nobody's going to give you a chance. And that grandstanding that you did on Saturday, that's not going to do anything for you. And those 32 owners, they're laughing their asses off. Because they survive a player that was killing people on his off time. They survive a player who killed his teammate and then shows up the next week for a game to hang out on the sidelines. They survive not telling their players about head trauma for long periods of time, like decades, on those studies. And now it all came out. And they survived all of that. Because they just write a check and it goes away. Just like they did with you, Colin. They wrote a little check. Go away. Go away, Colin. Get lost, fool. That's all. That's all that's going on, man. Playing right into their hands. Colin and his people are playing checkers, and these owners are playing chess. And it's not even close. You know? That's why I tell you that, to me, Colin Kaepernick, it's a joke. He's a joke. I'm not talking about the movement. I'm not talking about any of that. That is extremely important.
Tell us how you really feel about Colin Kaepernick.
He's the wrong guy to represent you in anything, because he doesn't know how to represent you. And he clearly has no plan, and it made no impact with the NFL. Because we're 3 years in. How's the fight to get Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL going? Huh? How's that going? How successful has that been? Huh? So he couldn't do what everybody else did? Because he's better than Warren Moon? He's better than Jeff Garcia? He's better than Doug Flutie? He's better than Mark Dixon? He's better than Cam Wake? Is that what it is? Colin Kaepernick is a better person than all those human beings who were also told, you're not good enough. But they went to the CFL and showed everybody they were good enough. Why haven't you done that, dude? I mean, if you really want to be a quarterback, which I think you're full of crap, but if you really wanted to prove it, and like I said over the weekend, nobody builds on a 32-year-old athletic quarterback, because he's a guy that needs his legs in order to survive out there, because he's not a pocket passer. He can pass from the pocket, but he's not a pocket passer. He will not make a living like Tom Brady in that pocket, or Drew Brees, or even Russell Wilson. Can't do it.
The way you're calling him out, why hasn't anybody else done this?
Because
straight up, just go to the CFL, man, if you really want to, like you said.
Because most people don't have the balls to actually be honest about it. That's all. It's pretty simple.
Does part of that become the political situation, and you don't want to?
And some people may be afraid of the kickback from other people out there, but I don't really give a rat's ass about that. I never have. I never will. I'm not worried about that. I call it like I see it. And to me, Colin Kaepernick is a phony. That's all. I mean, listen. And yes, I have Cuban background. So for me, his ignorance will stand out forever. Because you can't be calling about social injustice, the mistreatment of this group of people, but I'll wear a Castro shirt. Come on, man. Really, dude? Are you educated? Do you have any idea? Pig socks. Come on, man. We have bad lawyers. We have bad judges. We have bad teachers. We have bad cops. We have bad politicians. But most of them are good. Most of them are doing really good work. Okay? It's not most cops are bad. No. Most cops are fantastic. It's just, unfortunately, they've got a small percentage of them that are freaking It's like the NFL players. I try to tell people all the time, 99% of those locker rooms, 98% of them, they're all good dudes. Only problem is it's like 2-3 guys in each locker room that are freaking morons. And they are the ones getting arrested in the DUIs and beating women and all that. It's not 1,000 players in the NFL beating women. It's only a couple guys. But, unfortunately, they keep those guys around. They give them second chances. Same thing as the cops. Blue-on-blue crime. No, it can't happen. No, you know what? It should happen. You guys should be ratting out the bad cops. Just like in football, they need to rat out the bad football players and get them the hell out because they make everybody else look bad. Just like the Catholic Church should be jailing and kicking out every bad priest. But what do? They stockpile them and hide them in some place somewhere where nobody can see them. And they protect, and they protect, and they hide. It's something that we do in our society. And it happens in all walks of life. It's not just Neanderthal football players. It's policemen. It's judges. It's the Catholic Church. Whatever. It happens. It's kind of like when we hear, I remember when we've had some of the violent issues with men and women involved, and it's a football player, right? And people would tell me, well, they play a violent sport, and this is why they have that attitude, and you can't expect them to turn it off and turn it on, and that's a bunch of crap. You got to compartmentalize, just like a soldier does. He's at war, and then when he goes home, he can't act like that with his wife and kids. And a boxer is not going to be boxing his wife and his kids. You got to compartmentalize. Just because you play or you work at something that's brutal, you have to be able to separate the two. You've got to be able to be mature about the whole thing. That's not an excuse. I mean, that is an excuse, is what you do. It's not an excuse that you can use as a crutch for your screw-ups. But that's what we do in this society. We protect. And we protect to an extreme that we are hurting each other in the process. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. And for me, it's just, I don't buy Colin Kaepernick. I just think he's full of S. That guy's been making money for years now off of Nike. He doesn't need the NFL money anymore. He doesn't really want to be an NFL quarterback. If he really wanted to, he would have proven to us, just like all of you out there that prove constantly that I want to work with animals. And you don't have a job here, you'll move to San Diego to work with animals. You'll move across the world to work with animals. Whatever it is that you do in life. You love fishing. You can't fish in one part, you'll go fish somewhere else. It's what you're going to do what you love. You love acting. I can't get a job here. I can't get a job. I'm moving to Hollywood because that's where I may get a job. You know how many people move to Hollywood because they want to be...
Up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodzie now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Welcome back. Ready to rock and roll. Yes, it is. It is the show. The show with the go. And on Thursday, we're going to be out at Doral Animal Services. Looking forward to hanging out with Flora and all the great people out there at Doral Animal Services. Once a month, we go out there and hang out with the doggies. So we can encourage you all out there that if you're going to get a dog and add one, especially here during the holiday season, please adopt, because there's so many good dogs that need a home. We've got 4 in our home that we adopted, so and they're awesome, and they're angels, man. I'm telling you, I just love my dogs, man. I really do. We love our dogs in a big-time way in our home. So we will be there on Thursday. Friday will be, of course, out at Hialeah Park like we normally are. Let's see what we got here on the chat board here on YouTube for those of you watching on the chat board. Let's see. When you get a chance, can you give me the top QBs the Dolphins have a chance to draft? Ray, we got to know who's coming out in the draft, who's staying. We still don't know all of that. I can give you, Jordan Love and Joe Burrow and Jacob Fromm and Jacob Eason. I could give you the names that everybody else is going to give you. You know what I mean? That's neither here nor there. Justin Herbert is the other guy from Oregon. Those are all the names. I mean, that's easy, but let's wait till the season is done, and then we're at the East-West Shrine and we're at the Senior Bowl those weeks, and I will have more information for you on separate quarterbacks, on what people like about certain guys, what they dislike about others. Again, microwave society. We all want everything solved right now. We want the answers to everything right now. It's not going to happen. I'd love for that to be the case, but I kind of tell you this every year. Let's see. Ray says, that's right, Big O. Call it like you see it. That's why I'm a huge fan of yours. Miss you on radio. Ray, I don't miss being on radio. We can do it right here, man. I don't need the politics, and I don't need the idiots that are, above me that have never done this job, and they're trying to tell me how to do a radio show when they've never done a radio show themselves. So it's just, it really is. It's amazing. It's truly amazing in radio. You have so many failed people doing talk shows that are your bosses. People that you would never be on the air. Ever. I've been doing it for 30 years on the air. 30 years. My bosses, they weren't on the air for 3 months. It's weird, man. Hey, Big O, love parts of the game yesterday, but as you said on Twitter, the mismatches were a bit too evident. Yeah, it's just Miami doesn't have the talent. It's amazing when they do win games and when they're competitive. It really is. And that window was there yesterday. Allen Hurns doesn't drop that ball. I don't know what happens after that. They get flustered. Allen gets flustered. You never know. Yeah. So appreciate it. Ray says, gotcha, Big O. I understand. And Sam says, love the show, by the way, and thank you. Thank you all for tuning in and for spreading the word and downloading the show and giving us incredible numbers in the downloads, which are, I got to tell you, honestly, I still have a hard time believing the numbers. I do. Because they are so extraordinary. The support has been just through the roof. I never expected it to be, and especially this fast. This much, I never expected. And the response for it to be this fast has been absolutely outstanding. And so I appreciate that immensely. All right, the other thing that we got to get into a little bit is the Miami Heat. They beat Detroit the other night, took care of business. They're now, actually the Pelicans, 109-94. They've beaten now Detroit, Cleveland, and New Orleans. Remember, we talked about this last week, that this was a 5-game stretch that you have to at least go 4-1. Worst case scenario, 4-1. Ideally 5-0, because you're better than all 5 teams. And now they are off tonight. Wednesday, they take on Cleveland at the AAA, and then Friday, they're at Chicago. That'll wrap up this 5-game stretch before you play the Sixers. So you have an opportunity to be 11-3 when you play the Sixers, which is pretty cool. I don't know how many of you have been able to take the time to look at where the Heat are at 9-3, but they're tied for the second best record in the conference with Milwaukee at 9-3. And technically they're ahead of Milwaukee since they beat them, right? Is that how it works? Anyway, they're also tied for the 4th best record in the NBA. Okay? Let me run that by you again. They're tied for the 4th best record in the NBA.
I know the best East is Boston. They lost their second game to Sacramento.
Right.
And us with 3 losses, we're right behind them in the East, man.
Right, with Milwaukee right there.
Amazing.
Yeah. So to have the second best record in the Eastern Conference and tied for the 4th best record in the NBA. Wow. I saw it today and I was like, that's just so impressive. And I know it's only 12 games. I get it. I understand that. But I will say this. They have quality wins in those 12 games. It's not like they only beat scrubs. Beating Houston and beating Milwaukee, those are really, really good wins for them. Losing to Denver and losing to the Lakers is no shame. If you lose to all 4, then it looks like you can only beat the bad teams. But they have beaten some good teams, and they're not losing to bad teams, actually. That's another thing that's positive for the Miami Heat. I mean, if I look at it right now, their 3 losses are against Denver, against the Lakers, and against Minnesota. And I'm pretty sure, I want to look it up now, but I want to say Minnesota has a winning record at least. I know Denver has it, and I know that obviously the Lakers have the best record in the NBA. My daughter saw the Lakers over the weekend. She was at the Kings-Lakers game on Saturday at
very cool.
Or Friday or Saturday. I forgot which one it was at the Staples Center. But yeah, she was in LA for a convention, and she ended up going to a Lakers-Kings game at the Staples Center. So that's cool.
That must have been the night that I think LeBron had 33.
Had that dunk.
And Kobe Bryant was there and all the foo-foo and nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had the dunk on Belagia or whatever the hell it was. The one with the Kobe thing was yesterday because they played back-to-backs. It was Saturday was the one. And Minnesota is 7-6. They've got the 8th seed right now in the West. So they've lost to a 11-2, 9-3, and 7-6 Western Conference team. They haven't lost to an Eastern Conference team. They are undefeated against the East at this point in time. So it's pretty cool. And that's, again, you beat the good teams and you're beating the teams you're supposed to and you're taking care of home court. They're also 5-0 at home. The Heat are doing everything you're supposed to do. Take care of home court, beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and win some of the games you're not supposed to win. That's pretty awesome. Beat Milwaukee. You beat Houston. Let me see. Are there any other really? No, those are the Studley wins. Memphis is not considered a great win. Neither are the Atlanta wins. Although Atlanta's not bad. Once they get John Collins back, they'll be all right, but not considered a great win. Beating Phoenix is not considered a great win. Beating Detroit is not considered a great win, or Cleveland, or, of course, the Pelicans, which you just beat.
There's one correlating factor in all 3 of our losses.
What's that?
And it's us being in the 30 percentile shooting from the field. When all the other games, our wins, were in the 40 or better. But yeah, the 3 losses were 31 to 37, 38% from
Western
the field,
Conference, and they're
Yeah.
better teams,
Yeah.
man. You're playing quality teams. That's why it's not easy. But you have beaten the quality team you played in the East, and you've beaten one quality team in the West in Minnesota. And you've done a good job. That's why I can't wait, actually, after Cleveland and Chicago, because they go to Philadelphia.
Hey, you
The
know
o-
what?
the only
You're
thing I
forgetting
don't-
about
the only
one-
thing I don't like about the f-
Phoenix is not a bad team, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they
No,
played well,
and
but
we were on the road on a back-to-back.
yeah, I know, but it's just they're young. And
No,
so
I'm sorry.
can't-
We were the front end of a back-to-back because the Lakers were the very next night.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
bad.
yeah,
My
they were
bad.
the front end,
But,
but-
we were on the road. It's a decent win.
It's a decent win, but and they're not a good team yet. And
You're not buying the Phoenix
No.
Suns, okay?
Are they even over 500? Because Minnesota's 7-6, and they're the 8th seed. Are they above Minnesota? I want to say they're not. I don't know. Maybe they are. They did start off well. Maybe they've regressed a little bit. But Philly is the game I'm looking forward to, because the only thing I don't like about the Philly game is that it's on a back-to-back night. You're at Chicago on Friday, and then you're at Philadelphia on Saturday, which sucks that it's a back-to-back road set. That part I don't like, but it's a nice measuring stick, because once you play Detroit, Cleveland, New Orleans, Cleveland, and Chicago, you should go 5-0. Then you play Philadelphia. Then you take on Charlotte, which is another winnable game at home. And then you travel to Houston for that rematch. And you know Houston is going to want that game back. That's going to be interesting. And then they take on Golden State, which they should win. And then they go to Brooklyn, which Brooklyn will not be easy. Brooklyn's kind of helter-skelter. You can beat them, but it won't be easy. And then you've got Toronto. So there'll be some nice tests coming up from Miami after this terrible stretch of 5 games with terrible teams. But, hey, I love the maturity of this Miami Heat team. And it's crazy to say that because they're full of young guys. But what I love is the mature way they've approached all these lesser games. And they're like, no, we're taking care of business. And we're winning. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, like you pointed out, that Houston start, what was it, 41-14 we were beating them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be super pissed off.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be
Like,
jacked.
wow.
But they don't play defense. So that's the thing about the Houston game that I'm not afraid of Houston. I know what they are. They've got a couple of offensive players, but that's about it. It's not like they're going to shut you down or anything like that. Miami will not struggle to get shots against Houston. They will be able to do whatever the hell they want against Houston. Now, will they be able to keep up is the question, because that's what Houston does. They either outscore you, but they're not going to bury you or anything along those lines. The Suns, by the way, are 7-4. So
That's what I thought, man.
That is
Yeah.
that becomes a quality
Thank you.
win.
Yeah.
They're 6-4 in their last 10.
And that was at their place, man. There,
Yeah.
some little bonus
So
points on that.
So I guess they get another quality win because it's a road win in the Western Conference. They are loaded. They got a bunch of young guys. And Ayton is not even there. They're missing their number 1 overall pick, and they're still winning, which is pretty. But the Suns are a good example of bottoming out and then hitting on those young guys, and that's what's turned them around, that they hit on some of these young guys, and that's why they've got a pretty damn good team overall of young guys. I didn't think they were this good. I know that they started off well in the first couple games, but I didn't think,
when we
I
went
didn't
to
think
their
they
place,
maintained it.
When we went to their place, we had the same records. We
Yeah.
were both 5-2, I want to say.
Right, yeah. I didn't realize that they kept up the pace. They're 7-4, which is pretty damn good overall. So 5-2, so they've been 2-2.
They started their bottom out. I think it's when we got Drodge from them. Is that correct?
Yes.
So they've been in the bottom out
For several years
For
now.
4 years,
Yeah.
pretty much, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
because Booker and Winslow are the same guys.
Takes a while, man.
Of course it takes a while. And Miami kind of set themselves back with those bad contracts, but they've kind of made a quick turnaround here from what they were a couple of years ago to what they are now because of the hit on Hero, Nunn, and Silva. I mean, we got to say Silva has also become a really nice piece off the bench. Not a scoring guy, but a glue guy, another one of those glue guys. And they've got a couple of them. And they're missing their glue guy as of late in Winslow because, again, he's not the scorer, but he does everything else for you.
Do we get Myers and Robinson from the Hassan?
Yes.
You know what, man? Look at that.
No, Robinson was already here. It's just
turning the negative. Dude,
yes.
Myers is
Robinson. This is Robinson's third year with the Heat.
Myers.
They've been developing. Yes, Leonard Myers was from that one.
Look at what
he
you
fits.
had.
He fits what they want to do.
Does he still
and
lead?
him are big shooting.
Does he still lead the league in 3-point percentage?
I don't know if he does.
It was something crazy, man. He was in the 60 percentile.
I don't know, but yeah, he's exactly what they need at that position. Let's see. It's nice seeing the Heat playing with so much confidence, and a big key, in my opinion, is that big guys are hitting those threes. Yeah, there's no doubt. Guillermo says, "Hey, Big O, I don't miss you on the air. Love the podcast. My 3-year-old daughter sings along with your show. LOL. Keep it up." Well, thank you, Guillermo. I appreciate that, man. That's very cool. That's very cool.
You know what? Get us a recording of her doing that.
Yeah.
That would be
right.
so hilarious, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Record it. And
those little kids' voices, man, they are so awesome.
Yeah. Send it to us. That would be good. I like that. I remember when I got my daughter years ago to, when she was young, do the Belichick cheating stuff. Because the whole camera gate or whatever it was, Spygate. Not Deflategate, but Spygate.
Oh, the cheating in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So I got her to make some drops for me.
Na 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 na. Bella cheat or is it Bella choke?
There you go. See?
Na 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 na. Cheaters never prosper.
So there you go. I got my daughter to do some of that stuff.
Na na
That's
na
awesome.
na na. Cheaters never win.
That's her. That's her right there. There you go.
How old was she, man?
She's 19 now. When was Spygate?
Probably a good set. She was probably every bit of
It was
10,
easily
8,
10
9.
years.
Yeah,
it was easily 10 years ago. Spygate.
She's 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
Still got that little kid voice,
Right,
man. That's
right?
awesome.
Na 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 na. Cheaters never prosper.
There you go. There you go. I got it.
Na 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 na. Bella cheat or is it Bella choke?
That was good. That was good. I don't know when it was. I wonder if the recording will say the year. No, right? It won't say that anywhere, right?
No, it
does
should.
say-
If you pull up the file,
I didn't. But I have the file up, but it doesn't say.
you can't.
No, it doesn't have any. It doesn't have a date. I didn't input a date, but it doesn't have one. No. At all. Just says MP3 file. That's it.
Man, all my files have dates.
Just tell me when Spygate was. Look it up. Look
Okay,
up when
hold on.
Spygate was. What year was Spygate? And I could do the math right away. It's got to be. Has to be over 10 years because she sounds even younger than 9. I want to say she was. I want to say my daughter was maybe 6 to 7 years old. I'm going to take a guess. I don't think she was older than that. Maybe 8. I doubt that. But I want to say, I'm going to go 7. I'm going to say she was 7 years old. Maybe I'm wrong. So that would mean it was 12 years ago. If she was 7. I don't know when Spygate was. You got to tell me when Spygate was.
Spygate was September 9, 2007, 12. So she is every bit of
It was
7.
7. I nailed
So
it.
she's got that
12 years ago.
little kid voice.
Yeah,
that's
she sounds
you
a
can hear
little
it.
younger than 9 or 10. And she is my daughter, so I kind of maybe know her voice a little bit. Don't know anything else, but I might know her voice at least. So, yeah, there you go. So if you can get your daughter to sing along our theme song, then let's do it. How about that? How about if you all get your kids to sing along the theme song, and then we'll edit them all together, and it'll be like we are the world. We are the children. And then we'll get all the kids together singing, this is the Big O Show. And we'll put it all together like in one recording. So there you go. Get your kids to sing the Big O theme song. All right? On their own. Try to take out the music. Just give it to them at first. Show them. They know the beat, all that stuff. And then do it on your own. And then send us the MP3s. And we'll produce it. We'll have a little fun with it. Because I have the music without the voices. So we can actually play and add the voices to the music.
So I could actually set it up on one and do it on another and mix it and throw the music, then the voices, and put it together and overlap it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could. I got some skills.
Yeah.
In just the course of 8 months, yes, I could do this.
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can do it. There's no doubt you can do it. Come on. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. That's 786-322-1105 on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. If you want to get in on the show, Joe Shad will be joining us at the top of the hour, and we'll talk to Joe Shad. We'll get his thoughts on the Miami Dolphins and what happened this weekend. At 2:30, Brian Flores will address the media. We will carry that press conference for you here on the show. We try to carry the press conference every day if we're on one way or another, and then I always follow up on any of the things he said, if there's anything that's breaking news, anything that's controversial, whatever. If he goes after a reporter, which the Safed Dean stuff last week was just not juicy enough. I mean, come on, man. We got to raise the level of play. I mean, I got Saban to call me an a-hole. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. When you could get the coach to call you an a-hole in front of everybody, now that, my friends, that's controversy. They don't know controversy. I remember Jimmy Johnson grabbing Armando Salguero and Jason Cole and just tearing them new holes. More for what Jason did than Salguero, but Salguero was kind of along for the ride because they were both working together in the same paper at that time. They were both on the Herald. That's controversy. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. The stuff that Safed was involved with Brian Flores was like minor league. That's not controversy. That's child's play. There was nothing to that one, man. Now, talk about one that got blown up. We got to talk to Safed. We need him to really raise hell, to really cause some ruckus, so we can have some fun with it. That would make a lot of sense there. The Canes, by the way, defeated Quinnipiac 80-52. McGusty with 22 points. Thursday, they will take on the Missouri State Bears at 11:30 a.m. Wow, that's rough. Tonight, ESPN, we got a little Chiefs and Chargers. Chiefs at 6-4. They need this win in a big-time way. 8:15 will be the kickoff. The Heat are off tonight. They'll be back in action on Wednesday to take on the Cavs at the AAA. The Panthers are also off tonight. They beat up the stinking New York Rangers on Saturday, 4-3. They're now 10-5-5 on the season. They are tied for 5th in the conference right now with 25 points, which for the Panthers, that's really, really good to be tied for 5th and be at 25 points right now, because we're normally watching them in a deep, deep hole that they're trying to climb themselves out of. That's at least usually the case.
Yeah, we'd be 5-5-10 or 5-10-5.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow, just crazy stuff overall. Let me tell you a little bit about Toyota of Hollywood, folks. They are a proud sponsor of our program. They're open till midnight. We broadcast there once a month. Go see Steve Ostrov out there, Herbie Lopez, all the great people out there at Toyota of Hollywood. They've got over 1,500 Toyotas in stock and on sale right now during the Ultimate 2019 model year changeover event going on right now, folks. You can buy any new Toyota, and they're going to make your payments until 2020. They've got a Supra sales event going on right now, and the model changeover event, you got to take advantage. They're open till midnight. They are ready to make a deal, and they've got special introductory savings on new 2020 models. They're at 1841 North State Road 7. And go to toyotaofhollywood.com. Again, open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. till midnight, Sunday till 10 p.m. Take advantage right now on the model changeover event. 2019 Corolla LE listing at $21,000. They've got them at $12,775. The 2019 Avalon XSE listing at $37,000. They've got them at $24,775. Take advantage of the model year changeover event at Toyota of Hollywood.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2030. While mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
There you go. We gave you plenty of opportunities there to get your kids singing the song so you can record it. And then that way you can send us the MP3 file. That's what it's all about. All right. Joe Shad from the Palm Beach Post is going to join us in just a second here. We'll have a little fun with Joe Shad. We'll talk all things Dolphins with him. Shad Joe on Twitter. You can catch his exceptional work at the Palm Beach Post website, or better yet, even at your doorstep, man. Nothing wrong with getting a little paper action in the morning. Do we have him? Or is he set? Is Mr. Shad Joe set? Let's see.
Mr. Shad with you, sir.
All right, Joe. Good afternoon, my man. How are you doing? Do we have him?
How are you?
There we go. I am doing great, buddy. Good to have you on. So, tell me your thoughts on Tua when you saw him go down.
Well, the first thing you think is whether or not he should have been on the field. And, Alabama has had some players who have come out of Alabama not healthy. And certainly, when you saw Nick Saban a bit shaken during his halftime interview, surely that was going through his mind. Should he have been on the field at that moment? Should he have been on the field that day at all? So that's the first thing that went through my mind.
Yeah, no, I get that. I don't, it was in the first half. I'm not big on benching a guy in the first half. That to me does nothing. But when you saw the injury, Joe, what went through your mind and you start going, okay, if I'm Chris Grier, I'm doing what?
Well, it certainly changes the tank for Tua narrative. It was really easy to say, just do everything you can to get Tua, but now obviously you have to, do a deep evaluation into how the Dolphins doctors feel about Tua's chances to recover in at least a close to fully healthy manner. So, the hip is bad, man. It's would have been much better if it was an ankle. Probably even would have been better if it was a knee.
Yes.
The hip and the Achilles are like the two injuries that really dramatically alter NFL players' careers most often. Modern technology, it's not as bad as it was back in the Bo Jackson era. We have better medicine now, and certainly Bo is was an older athlete. Tua was a young athlete. So this would not completely eliminate for me the possibility of drafting Tua. If you are convinced that he's going to recover, you still have to consider drafting him.
Yeah, for me, I was off his bandwagon last week. I wouldn't take him at all in the first round. Last week, before the hip injury, I was off his. I'm not a fan of injury-prone players, and that's the one thing that stands out to me. He is just like you and me. His body isn't made for the NFL. He can't take the punishment in college. He can't even play a college football season. He's only been in 2 seasons, and he can't complete them. There is no way I would draft that kid in the first round. There is no way he would survive in the NFL in my eyes. That, to me, that's why you want to take him in the second as a project. I'm good with that. But injury-prone, I'm not taking that dude. I'm done with him. But that's the way I look at it. I don't think he'll ever be healthy.
I don't like the word. I don't think the word project should be associated with Tua Tagovailoa. I don't think that's fair. He's no project. Now, if you think that you want to pass because you're concerned about the injuries, I get it. But someone's going to take him in the first round.
Oh yes, somebody will.
If it's New England, as Mike Tannenbaum suggested on ESPN, the former Dolphins EVP. How do you feel about that? You let the guy get through 3 first-round draft picks, perhaps? I think that's crazy.
Oh, I have no problem with it. I'm not a fan of injury-prone players, Joe. And we had Will Carroll on, and he described the injury that it's more like Dennis Pitta. And Dennis Pitta never really was able to recover from that hip injury. In fact, it would dislocate. And this is a kid that's had already 3 surgeries in less than 2 years at the college football level. It's really hard to imagine that he's going to stay healthy. And what I meant by project, you're 1,000% right. I don't mean a project like in what Ryan Tannehill was as a quarterback. I mean the project of keeping him healthy and that kind of stuff, because that's basically what you're doing. If you're taking him, you're hoping that he can stay healthy, because that's really the only knock on the kid, is that he is not durable whatsoever.
There can be a high reward, though. I mean, look at the Dallas Cowboys used a first-round pick on Jalen Smith. He took a while to get back up to speed. There was concerns about
dead foot.
The phrase, not just degenerative nerve damage, which for a linebacker is extremely concerning. That risk has paid off handsomely for the Cowboys. And, of course, we know in Dolphins history, the decision to not clear Drew Brees medically was a terrible mistake. So I understand your concern, but what about this? What about drafting Tua and another quarterback? Would that make you feel more comfortable if he's one of two quarterbacks they take in the first 2 rounds?
If they take Tua like they did with Jalen Smith in the second round, I have no problem with that. I don't have a problem taking.
Okay, Jalen was a second rounder. Okay.
Yeah, Jalen was a second rounder. Hey, I've never ripped the Dolphins. I never liked Chad Henne as a pick, but I've never ripped the Dolphins for the pick because I thought that Parcells taking him at like the 50th pick in the draft was a responsible pick because the kid had 4 years of experience. He had a gun for an arm. I didn't like him as a quarterback, but I thought it was a responsible pick there at that point. I think taking Tua in the second round is responsible because if you miss on it, all right, whatever, it happens. But if you missed on that first rounder, Joe, and you could get yourself a pass rusher, a tackle, a shutdown corner, all those kind of positions that will be available in the first round, those are things that are, priceless. You can't pass that up for a guy that cannot stay healthy because that's one thing that's been certain about Tua. And not only is he a great passer, what's also certain with Tua is that he's going to break down one way or the other.
But one thing I know is the Dolphins have to get a quarterback in the first round, whether it's Tua or Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow. They have to get one of those guys. I mean, the worst-case scenario for Miami would be, the first 2 picks are other teams, Washington, Cincinnati, the Giants, whatever, and quarterbacks go 1-2 and they don't get one. I mean, that would just be a really bad situation. Then what do? Do you alter course completely? Do you sign a guy like Teddy Bridgewater who you think, can be at least a bridge to the next quarterback? I guess. I mean, but that wasn't the plan. The plan was to get a stud rookie quarterback.
No,
this year.
You're right. You're right. But again, you can't force this kind of stuff. That's why it's, I found it funny that people thought for sure that they would be the number 1 pick and everything will go well and that you're going to draft Tua and you're going to let go of Tunsil because you're already targeting a right tackle. That's fantasy football, dude. You got to let the whole season play out, and we got to find out whether Tua's leaving, whether he's staying, whether he gets injured, whatever. We don't even know, what the hell is going to happen. So that's why, to me, I find it funny. But I don't think it's the end of the world, Joe, if you don't end up with a quarterback. This is a process that wasn't going to take a year. It's going to take several years. So the one thing that Chris Grier has done is he's kept himself liquid where he could actually move into next year's draft with several picks to kind of set himself up.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting if they reconfigure their focus on Trevor Lawrence, the Clemson quarterback. They have so many needs, though, and I don't think 78, 79-year-old owner Stephen Ross can stomach another 2, 3, maximum 4-win season in 2020. And my concern is that they're going to overextend in free agency and sign a couple of bad Jets-like contracts.
Oh, you know what? I disagree with you on that one. I don't think they're going to do that at all. I don't think they're doing the Ndamukong
Well, they keep using the word aggressive, though.
Yeah.
They keep saying they're going to be aggressive.
Yeah, but I think aggressive means if a young free agent is out there, they'll sign him. I don't think they're going the old route, dude. I don't think they're going to be giving 30, 31-year-olds 4- and 5-year deals. I think what they mean by aggressive is that they'll be aggressive in trading for a young guy that's disgruntled or a young guy that becomes available that Lord knows it used to happen to the Dolphins all the time. Somebody that might become available. I think that's the way they're going to be aggressive, not in aggressive bringing an old guy.
I agree. They're not looking for an Ndamukong Suh type deal. I agree with that. But this is a team with so many needs. I mean, after watching Sunday's game, I mean, they have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds. They really need to use 3 of them on offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah.
2 tackles and a guard or center. Because this team is going to have no chance until they get the line right.
Amen. No, dude, I'm 1,000% with you, and I think they will. I think they're going to beef up a lot on the offensive line in the draft. I'm with you 1,000%. Joe, did you think yesterday was a result of, hey, the Bills, this is the second time they see you. You gave them a little trouble last time, and they were well prepared. And obviously, they have way more talent than you as it is, and that talent and the preparation kind of took over.
No doubt. The Dolphins kind of caught Josh Allen a few times in the first meeting, sort of exploited his inexperience, but Allen was much better yesterday. And look, this Dolphins roster is just not good. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, maybe the Bengals roster is close, but there's no other roster this bad. And, I mean, they were just not class, man. They were manhandled. They were thrown around. They were dominated in both trenches. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, you broke up there.
Took some responsibility, and Brian Flores said, he had to take some responsibility. I don't think so, man. I don't think he had a chance.
No, yesterday was now having said all that, dude, if Allen Hurns doesn't fumble that ball, you could be headed for a completely different game there, because if they end up with a touchdown, all of a sudden it's 16-14, and we've got a new ball game there, isn't it? And also the hold by Evan Boehm cutting out that 21-yard run, you could have ended up with more points on that one too. It's funny, but there were a couple of watershed moments that might have changed the complexion of that game.
Yeah, I understand your point. I mean, Allen Hurns fumbling immediately after Chase Peters recovers his own onside kick was certainly a momentum shifter in that game. But honestly, if Hurns never fumbles, if he doesn't commit a costly penalty, which was certainly a questionable call based on replay review, they were still going to lose. They were going to lose. I mean, Jordan Phillips, you see what he did? Michael Dieter?
Yes.
That was just crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a key thing, man. The Dolphins need Dieter to be an average NFL lineman. And it's not going to happen this year. They're going to hope it happens next year. But they need him to be like the one guy that they can pencil in. I mean, ideally him at left guard and Jesse Davis at right guard.
Where are you with Flores?
He's good. I mean, I think this coaching staff is good. I don't think the coaching staff is a problem. I like the fact that Flores is a serious dude. I like the fact that he's instilled some discipline. I like the fact that, he's no nonsense. I'm not.
Wait a minute. Repeat that again, Joe. You broke up there. What'd you say? You're not what?
I don't think there's anything that these coaches could do schematically that be much better than what they're doing. I think the talent is the issue, coach.
I'm a Flores fan right now. I think he's done an outstanding job with a terrible roster. How he's even been able to get 2 victories is crazy. And I'm with you. I think Cincinnati has more talent, but it's just Flo and his staff are just better at preparing their players than Zach Taylor is at preparing his players in Cincinnati. That's all.
Yeah, Zach Taylor's been a disaster, and it's interesting, a little bit of the luster off of Sean McVay this year compared to the genius label. Things change fast in this league, and I kind of like that the Dolphins went a different direction. They went with a defensive tough guy when so much of the league is trying to go towards, the next Sean McVay.
Yes, I'm with you there, but I think also Chris Grier knew the guy and they could communicate, and I think that he was prepared to take on this kind of a job where they said, hey, we're going to tear it down, but we're going to build through youth, not through free agency and older guys and all that stuff. And I got to give Chris Grier a lot of credit because he picked a guy that is willing to teach, because clearly that's how this team has improved and been able to get a couple of wins, because as young as they are, Joe, you got to be able to coach your ass off to be able to get these guys to play the way they have.
I think they have some good assistant coaches. It's something I wrote about in the Palm Beach Post last week or maybe at the end of the week before that. There's Josh Boyer. No one's ever heard of him, but he is like the defensive passing strategist and the cornerbacks coach. He is a really impressive guy. I was having a conversation with him in which he in detail explained the way he watches each play and film review a minimum of 6 times and what he looks for each time. It was very fascinating. It's a very detail-oriented coaching staff, and they put in as many or more hours than any other coaching staff I've ever been around.
Wow. Listen, so far I have been really, really impressed. I think next year, in year 2, we'll kind of get a good feel for who Brian Flores is, because if the league figures you out and then you struggle, then that'll be a telltale sign. But if we see them take that next step and continue to improve, then obviously he knows what the hell he's doing. But I've been really, really impressed overall. Joe, how about Devontae Parker, man? How much love do we have to give the guy? Because he's fought through all of the injuries, and it's not his fault that his body didn't, agree with him at times. But he's found a way to stay healthy, and we all knew that if he could stay healthy, he could be productive, and that was one of the bright spots yesterday.
It was career high 135 yards for Devontae Parker, and it's interesting, not a lot of attention being put on Devontae Parker's season. He was overshadowed by undrafted rookie Preston Williams early in the year. Yesterday, he was overshadowed by the 101-yard kickoff return from Jakeem Grant. There were about 14 reporters around Jakeem Grant. Me and Sofin from the Sun-Sentinel were like the only guys talking to Devontae Parker after the game. And good, because I think you're sort of expecting him to perform well now. When Ryan Fitzpatrick says that Parker is a dependable player, the most dependable player that he has, I mean, yes, that's a bit alarming, but also really eye-opening in terms of how far Parker has come. That was a good move by Chris Greer to throw out the 1-year, 5th-year option and come up with a restructured 2-year deal for a very talented player in Devontae Parker. They're looking for a bargain. That was a bargain play, and that one worked out well. Sort of like the Vince Beagle trade has worked out well. Kiko Alonso wanted out, and Greer made the best of it. Vince Beagle didn't do much yesterday, but has done better than Kiko Alonso. So that was a good trade, 2 good moves by Greer.
Yeah, no, I think Greer's made several good moves overall. And going back to the Parker thing, Joe, has he told you guys, because I know he doesn't really talk a ton, but has he opened up on how he's been able to stay healthy, what he's figured out with his body? Has he ever enlightened you guys on that stuff?
Not really. It's more of the same, eating healthy, stretching more, taking care of my body, drinking more water. There is a new, I don't know all the details, but I'm assuming they have it's a new staff, so I'm assuming they have new people, strength and conditioning coaches, medical staff, working with the players. And I can just tell you in general, a lot of these guys have transformed their bodies. Parker looks stronger. Raekwon McMillan looks stronger. Mike Gesicki has transformed his body. It's actually something I really should write about. I doubt that I would get access to the trainers and strength coaches, doctors, medical professionals working with these players. But this is a better conditioned, stronger team.
And Joe, after the Allen Hurns deal, and the poor kid didn't start off his first day after the deal in a right fashion, because he obviously had the fumble and the drop yesterday. Not a good day for Allen Hurns. But it kind of looks like who your receivers are next year, because you talked about it where Parker got that 2-year deal, which was smart by the Dolphins, so they'll have him back next year. Preston will come back. Allen Hurns is signed, and Jakeem Grant is under contract. You kind of have your 4 guys. Albert Wilson's probably the odd guy out, and I would imagine a draft pick might be replacing him down the line.
Yeah, I agree with you. Albert Wilson has unfortunately been the least impressive as he's slowly returned from injury, and it just hasn't happened for him yet. Jakeem Grant, everything kind of clicked into place yesterday as it seems he's finally nearly recovered from his serious leg injury. Hasn't happened for Albert Wilson, but a team that has so many needs, and I'm not suggesting that they might not still spend a top 3 round draft choice on a receiver, especially if the guy who take over a game. You're right. They have some decent players at the receiver position between Parker, Williams, Grant and Hearns, who they gave the surprising contract extension to. But again, a value play. They think that they found value in that Allen Hearns extension.
Joe Schad from the Palm Beach Post, Dolphins beat writer, joining us here on the program. And Joe, I wasn't a fan of the move of staying with Fitz and putting Rosen on the bench. But in hindsight, I was wrong, and Flores was right, because this is the best way of evaluating everybody, not just the quarterback position. Having Rosen there didn't really allow you to evaluate everybody. But is that going to be the move for the rest of the season, or do you think they'll go back to the evaluation of Rosen this season, or will they wait till next year when they have a young quarterback and put them in there to battle for the job? How do you see it playing out?
I mean, I think it would be an absolute joke and a disgrace if Josh Rosen doesn't get at least 2 or 3 more starts. I mean, the kid is like 22, 23 years old. I don't care if you think he stinks in practice. I don't care if you think he was terrible when he got his opportunity at 3 starts. He gave Ryan Tannehill 7 years. Give this kid more than 3 starts. I mean, at least you can find out. Maybe you can increase his trade value. Maybe you have a better feel about bringing him back in a backup role next year. I mean, if this team is 2-8 now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you're at 3-11. I mean, that's 4. I mean, what are you not going to play him the last 2 games? Of course you are. I mean, you have to. Right. I mean, I agree with you. I've written that Flores was right. I said Rosen should start all the rest of the games of the year no matter what. But in retrospect, I think Flores was right. So I agree with you. Going to Fitzpatrick was the correct decision. But at the end of the year, I mean, of course you got to go back to Rosen. I mean, if you don't, that's just stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only reason I tell you it's because maybe they just want to evaluate everybody else, too, at the same time, and they think it's that. But, to your point, and I like what you're saying, by that time, by the end of the season, the last 2 or 3 games, you should know what everybody is at that point. Put the kid in and see if he's learned anything, behind the scenes. Because that's, now that I think about it, if he is now behind the scenes learning and watching Fitz prepare and all that stuff, well, find out at the end of the year if he got a little better by watching Fitz and learning from his experiences and all that stuff. So it behooves you actually to not play him a couple of games just to see if there's any progress going into the offseason.
I mean, I got to think there's a 90% chance that Josh Rosen starts the last game of the season. I was at New England, right? So, yeah, last game of the season. 90% chance. Write it down. I don't think you can bet on that, but I would if I could.
Well, do they beat the Bengals with Rosen or with Fitz?
That's a great point. I would start Rosen if you think Fitzpatrick gives you the better chance to win. Now, they'll never admit that, but, what's that kid's name? The Boise kid, Ryan Finley or whatever?
Yes,
I mean,
Finley,
whoever's playing for the Bengals. Yeah. It should be Ryan Fingley or whatever and Josh Rosen. That's what we need to see at Hard Rock Stadium in that clash, that epic battle.
Oh, I love that. That is too much. All right, Joe Schad from the Palm Beach Post. Joe, Kalen Ballage. Dude, that guy needs to get benched in a big-time way. Listen, last year he looked productive. He looked good in that offense. He looked explosive for a big guy. This year, he looks completely lost. He can't find a damn hole. If it's out there, I'd rather just go with Patrick Laird and give him a shot because that guy always does a little flash here and there every time you give him a chance.
I didn't realize until I checked the box score that Laird actually had 6 catches on 6 targets yesterday and a carry or 2. So the Dolphins did get him involved in the second half. I'm over Kalen Ballage. I mean, this guy does not have great vision. He does not have great elusiveness. He does not have great hands. You want to use him as a goal line back, fine, whatever. But, in 2 more games without Mark Walton, let's see a little bit of Laird, a little bit of, Myles Gaskin. I mean, they just think that, Ballage is physically superior to those other guys, and of course he is. I mean, the guy looks like Tarzan, but plays like
Jane.
Who's that guy? Daniel.
Jane.
Who's the Daniel guy the Dolphins had?
No, he's playing like Jane. Forget Tarzan. He's playing like Jane.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Who was that running back the Dolphins had from Kansas State? Daniel Jones? Is that his name? I don't know.
Oh, I forgot.
The Daniel guy. I forget his name. Thomas. Daniel Thomas.
Oh, Daniel Thomas. Yes. Daniel Thomas, Kansas State.
They're
That's
kind
right.
of like both big. Yeah, they're kind of like both big guys, but not a lot of elusiveness, right?
But Joe, dude, what happened to him? He looked good last year. That's the weird part. Last year we were impressed.
You remember that play? Remember that play where they threw him the ball and it came out of his hands and it went the other way for a pick six?
Yes.
That was it. That was done. He was like done. That got in his brain, man, no doubt.
Wow, because he is completely day and night from last year. That's one of those things that you cannot explain. But I hope we get to see more of Laird because I really like what I've seen from that kid. And you're right, Myles Gaskins. Why not use the Washington kids? See what you got in them because you clearly know what you got in Ballage overall. Let me ask you something. Where are you on the whole tanking thing? Are you still strong on believing they were tanking, or did you look at more like a reset?
Well, I mean, the players and the coaches are trying. It's more that Chris Greer set up a situation where, sort of like Major League, the baseball movie, it was going to be nearly impossible for them to win. And so that's okay. I mean, that was the plan. And, they were going to win between 2 and 4 games, and that's where we're going to end up. So a little bit of panic with the consecutive wins, but in the end, they're going to get what they wanted, which was, probably a top 5 pick. I think they wanted a top 5 pick. I mean, if you gave Chris Greer truth serum, and you said, where do you want to finish in the draft based on the roster you deconstructed, the answer would be a top 5 pick. It doesn't have to be one per se. And the two-way injury complicates matters, of course. It really does. Really complicates matters. But if they think that he's the next Dan Marino and their doctors think he's going to be okay, you still pick him. Maybe not 3, but you still pick him.
Yeah, I have a hard time with the injury. I mean, when Jimmy drafted Yatil Green, I was ripping Jimmy to shreds that day for all of that because I watched him at UM and he was breaking down all the time, and it was just like he turns to Yatil and he says, "No more pulls and hamstrings and all that." And forget about it, bro. A guy is what he is. Unfortunately, if your body can't hold up, your body can't hold up, and that's the thing that terrifies me about that kid. That I just don't feel that he'll be able to hold up. Joe, what are you working on in the Palm Beach Post so Dolphins can check you out, my friend?
Well, I appreciate it. I'm about to pull into the Dolphins facility. We're going to see what Brian Flores says after having watched the tape. What he realizes about their inability to stop the run. What he realizes about their inability to do anything in the running game. It looked like he got after Jerome Baker a little bit. It looked like maybe Jerome Baker took a couple of poor paths on his way to trying to stop the run. Interested to ask him about that. Interested to see about Bobby McCain's injury. We'll have the latest on that. He obviously came into the game with a shoulder injury, couldn't tackle anybody, and then eventually left the game and did not return. So maybe Bobby's out for a while. We'll see what they learned on that. And yeah, I mean, you see how the Dolphin season goes, man. One of the receivers, Jennings, got hurt celebrating the Jakeem Grant return. I don't know if you saw that, but
I saw it.
That's basically how the season is gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, you score 100-yard, 1-yard touchdown, and the guy they just got, former 4th rounder, injured. So we'll see how bad that is.
By the way, you guys got to raise the level of controversies, okay? The one with Saffold and that wasn't strong enough. Come on, I got Saban to call me an a-hole. Come on, you guys got to raise the level of play there. Let's go. Let's have bigger controversies with coaches.
Yeah, I understand. I think the media tanks we tank here or there,
I got you.
All right, I'm pulling into the garage, so I'm going to lose you. But thanks for having me, Big O.
You got it, baby. You be good. Follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe.
Take care.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe and catch his work there at the Palm Beach Post, which is always good work by Shad Joe. And he's right. When he was talking about the assistant coach and how thorough he is, you can tell that this is a thorough coaching staff because to have the lack of talent that they have on this team and to be where they're at, it's truly amazing. It really is. While others may not be impressed with the 2 wins, I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed that for them to, and they're going to get a 3rd win because they will beat Cincinnati. No doubt about that. All right, let me tell you about Craig Zins, Acura of Pembroke Pines, the finest dealership in the business, baby. And, folks, they got some great deals going on right now. There is no better Acura dealership out there, man. The best, I'm telling you. The ILX right now, 2019 models, is $199 a month. The 2020s, they've got them in. The TLX is $259. The RDX is $329. The MDX, $369. Only $29.99 do it signing, plus tax tag and registration. Check out the fleet of certified pre-owned vehicles and the used cars. Get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Tell them that Big O sent you. Larry Schlossberg and the boys will take care of you at Craig Zins, Acura of Pembroke Pines.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, ready to rock and roll, baby.
This is the Big O Show.
It is a beautiful thing to be here with you guys today on a beautiful Monday. Hope you guys are doing all right. Hope you ladies are doing all right out there. Appreciate all the support. We thank Joe Shad from the Palm Beach Post for joining us on the show. We've talked a lot about the Tua injury, and over the weekend, remember, folks, we post Dolphin podcast for you for the post-game podcast. We do that every weekend for Dolphin games, so you can look for that on our podcast. And we do some shows over the weekends at times if there's some breaking news, going over some of the things that went on. And we talked also with Will Carroll, the injury expert, over the weekend. In fact, on Sunday, on our Sunday morning podcast, we had Will on to talk a little bit about that Tua injury, and we broke it down for you earlier in the show we played those Will Carroll sound bites. If you missed that interview with Will Carroll talking about the Tua injury, I suggest you go listen to that interview because it is as insightful as it gets. It gives you a great feel of what Tua is facing and what hurdles he's has to overcome. And with Tua, at least for me, I didn't need this hip injury, actually. I'm kind of off the Tua bandwagon last week. Now I wonder how people are going to look at him and our desperation for a quarterback will blind you to the point that you will overlook the obvious. And you'll say, well, no, let's take a chance on him. And then when he breaks down again and again and again, then you will call the Dolphins idiots for taking that chance. I know that that's what's going to end up happening. And I get it. Look, I'm as desperate as you guys are for a quarterback. I am dying for the Dolphins to get a really good quarterback. It would be awesome. They need it in a big-time way. But they actually need to make a responsible decision more than anything else. Because if you make a bad decision, it is going to set you back for several years. And then that's not going to help you out either. But if you pass on the quarterback now because you can't get the one you want, then you wait for the one that you want. And for now, you keep building a good team. And that's what you try to do. You got a coach that can win with smoke and mirrors at times. So maybe he'll be able to do it again. I mean, hey, Shula was like that. He didn't have Marino after Greasy. Had to get by with Woodstock. Had to get by with Scott Mitchell when Marino went out with an Achilles injury and overcame. That's kind of part of the whole thing. That's what a good coach does. What you cannot do is force this issue. And you can't say we've got to get a quarterback because we need a quarterback. No, you've got to get the right quarterback. That's the key. And that's where it's up to Chris. It's up to Marvin Allen. It's up to Reggie McKenzie. It's up to that entire scouting staff that if you can't draft it, you got to trade for it. If you can't trade for it, you better find it in street free agency. You better find it. Okay? Now, Chris Mortensen was talking about the Tua injury and where they're at right now. Here's Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter talking about the injury. I don't hear anything. All right, there we go. We'll try to get you the soundbite in a second here, and then we'll play you that soundbite with Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter talking about it. Go ahead.
Everybody knows right before the half he suffered a dislocated hip and a posterior wall fracture, according to Dr. Lyle Kane, who's the Alabama sports surgeon orthopedist, after he was airlifted to St. Vincent's Medical Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. He said that they reduced that injury right there on the field, which means it gave him a better chance to have blood flow to that hip. They're still trying to make decisions on how they're going to treat this. He says even though his season is over, they don't believe his career is over. And so there's some optimism in the meantime. A lot of prayers went out to him, and Tua at 10 o'clock last night thanked everybody for their prayers and well wishes.
I think that's the main thing. Everybody's pulling for him. Nobody wants to see a college football career or even a potential football career end like that. But what happens now, if we're going to talk about this in a football perspective, is Tua went from being a sure thing, surefire top 3 pick to now being essentially a medical mystery, much in the way that Jalen Smith was once regarded as the best defensive prospect in the draft, maybe the best player in the draft, wound up falling to the second round. because of the medical uncertainty surrounding his knee injury. And now I think you're going to find Tua in a very similar situation to Jalen Smith.
And even in the best case scenario, which Dr. Kane expects, we're talking about long months of rehab. So, by the combine, by the draft, he's not going to be ready to go at that point. So, yes, there's some impact on the draft.
There you go. There's Mort and Schefter. Look, it's nice to say that he's going to fully recover, and I hope he does, and I hope he can live a perfectly normal life, which is the most important thing for Tua. It's a terrible story. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see anybody's dreams get shattered. That part is terrible when you have to watch something like that happen, and you want to see Tua live his dream out. But when they tell you he's going to recover, that means nothing to me because I already know who he is. And he's a guy that the next injury is going to happen. The next injury is right around the corner because that's what he's proven for not even 2 years yet, that he will constantly break down and he will need surgery. And that's the part. It's not so much about the hip. That's why I got off the bandwagon last week. And I was officially done with the kid because he just doesn't look like the kind of guy that has the durability gene. And I don't know if it's a gene. I don't know if it's an ability. I don't know if it's a sickness. I don't know what it is. But it's something that...
It's definitely in your DNA, man.
I don't know what it is, man. But it is special when you can stay healthy at that level. Mel Kiper, the man that talks draft all the time, he breaks down where Tua stands now with the injury.
I think when you look at the medical situation now, that has to play out. We don't have all the answers on that yet from what the hip situation is moving forward in terms of the rehab, but we do know both ankles, slight knee, lower extremity injuries over the last couple of years have obviously affected Tua and impacted how teams will view him moving forward, especially when you think about Joe Burrow, LSU, with a great year he's had. He's moved up to that #1 quarterback spot up near the top of the draft board. Then Tua was right in with Justin Herbert from Oregon, who's been red hot of late at a big game last night. He's on a roll. He's got weapons coming back to that offense. And he's a big, strong, rocket arm quarterback. So now you look at Tua. He's not 6'3", doesn't have the big-time arm strength, and now the durability concern is obviously real, and it has been for a period of time because of both of the ankle injuries, Randy. So this kind of complicates matters, and obviously when you're competing with two other quarterbacks who are highly rated, it puts you right now third in line instead of #1 or #2 when you project forward to late April.
There you go. That is Mel Kiper talking about Tua and where he stands now. Look, like I told you guys, I have no problem taking him in the second round as a project and work on the injuries and whatever, because he may not even be able to work out at the combine. Think about this. You're going to draft a guy that you can't work out, and you don't know where he's going to be with that hip. And what you already here's something that you already know about Tua. He can't take the punishment. It's the NFL. You're going to get hit. Think about that. And do you think Miami would solve their offensive line issues, all of them, by next year? Really? You think they're not going to have some holes in their line still after next year? Of course they are. They're not going to solve all 5 positions. I hope so, but that's unrealistic to think that they're going to have a great line next year or even a good line next year. Because if you do draft a couple of young guys, they're young. That's not good. That usually means mistakes because you're young. That's usually what happens with young people. They make mistakes. And that's where Tua, is he going to be able to put up with the beating in the NFL? That's what you have to ask yourself. It's nice to say that, well, he's going to recover and we expect a full recovery. That doesn't mean anything to me. Not when it comes to somebody that I know cannot stay healthy. And unfortunately, that's what Tua is, a guy that can't stay healthy. That's why you've got to go in one direction in the first round, and that's completely away from Tua. If you want to pick Tua, you're doing it simply out of desperation, and you're not using logic. Somebody sent me the Jalen Smith thing also, now on Twitter. Mikey there sends it. You know who else had a bad career-ending injury? Jalen Smith. Everyone thought he was done. He sat out a year, and now he's manning the middle in Dallas. That's right. But that was nerve damage, and they took him in the second round. Not in the first round. Not top 5 where he was supposed to go. Second round. The gamble wasn't nearly as bad. If Miami wants to take Tua in the second round, I got no problem with that. I get it. Great upside. Incredible upside. But if he doesn't stay healthy and he breaks down and you spent a second rounder, I'm good with that. That's fine. I got no problem with that. You tried. That's what I want. I want you to try. But I don't want you to be stupid. And I don't want you to reach. And taking Tua in the first round at this point, I think it's dumb. I think it's not something you really want to do. And if you do, you better know something in the medicals that none of us know. And here's the other thing. Even if he does recover, what guarantees you that he's going to stay healthy and that things are going to change with his body? Because that's the part I don't believe is ever going to change. Because that's what his DNA is. He's a guy that is going to get injured.
I got an idea for him. Take the year off, right? Take the rest of this year, blah, whatever. HGH, human growth hormones, like build up your body, your immune, whatever. Get it strong. Wait, come back next year. Have your senior year. It's all out of your system. You'll pass the tests. Play your season. Try to stay healthy, and away you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that sounds all great in theory. I don't think that's very realistic.
I'm just, because this kid keeps breaking down, man.
Jim says, this is a brilliant approach. Besides clearing salary cap and stockpiling draft picks, this is how think of how strong the team could be, top to bottom, and from starters through the backups. Now add the coaches with a lot of experience with adversity, players with experience with adversity, and this team could be really something special. I think it will be, Jim. Okay? I really do. I think the Dolphins are going to be a really, really good team down the line. But it's going to take a couple of years. And I'm good with that. I understand all of this. I'm fine with this year. I'm fine with another struggling next year. It's probably more along the lines year 3 when things are going to change, when you're going to start to see a real difference in what's going on. But at this moment, I don't think you'll see it. I don't. What's this story on Colin Kaepernick here? What we got going on? Something on Tony Dungy. I want to see because I think he's calling out Colin Kaepernick or something like that, or that if he wants to really play QB, I'm interested to see if anybody says the things that I've been saying for a while now with him. That's what I'm interested to see if they can come up with it. See if this story. I'm trying to get it to pull up here, but the damn thing. Oh, here we go. Finally. Here we go. Colin Kaepernick definitely wants to play in the NFL. He has a strong distrust for the NFL. That's what led to the fiasco on Saturday. I think the NFL secretly was trying to sabotage the workout just for the media, like Stephen A. Smith, Tony Dungy, and others say Cap doesn't want to play. Hear how Cap is trying to kill those rumors. Sources, let me get that out of the way. Sources connected to Cap tell us turning the video around quickly was a priority, and they had it out within 24 hours of the Atlanta workout. We're told Colin also sent a note to each team saying he's ready, willing, and able to visit with any team for an interview and or workout. Of course, the most important thing is for the team, for Team Cap, is making sure decision makers get a chance to see Colin's skills for themselves so they can try quickly to evaluate him and hopefully make an offer. Cap said this at the end of his workout, but should there be any doubt now that he wants to play? And let me see here. Is this a Dungy video or text or what? That's what I'm trying to see here. I think this is all workout tapes from Cap here on this one. Yeah, that's all I'm seeing. I thought it had something on Dungy. I was hoping it had something on Dungy that it would give us a little info. Unfortunately, I don't see anything there on Dungy. There you go. See if I can pull it up this way, because I want to see if Dungy says something negative. How about this? Do me a favor, Bill. Can you pull up Kaepernick's comments after the workout? For those of you that haven't heard Kaepernick's comments after the workout, we're going to play those for you now so you can hear Cap address the media after his workout. And like I told you earlier, I think this is a whole bunch of crap. To be honest with you, I don't think Kaepernick really wants to play. I think this was more for show than anything else. If he really wanted to play, I already told you what he needs to do. You got those comments there? I want you guys to hear Kaepernick here, and I think we've got something here because it says Stephen A. Smith and Tony Dungy questioning if he really wants to play, and it's in a video. We'll check that out. But go ahead. Let's hear Kaepernick after the workout.
Let me start by saying I appreciate y'all all coming out. That means a lot to me. Our biggest thing with everything today was making sure we had transparency in what went on. We weren't getting that elsewhere, so we came out here. It's important that y'all are here. Y'all been attacked for the last 3 years. Y'all continue to be attacked. We appreciate what y'all do. We appreciate you being here today. We appreciate the work you do for the people and telling the truth. That's what we want in everything. I've been ready for 3 years. I've been denied for 3 years. We all know why I came out here and showed it today in front of everybody. We have nothing to hide. So we're waiting for the 32 owners, the 32 teams, Roger Goodell, all of them to stop running. Stop running from the truth. Stop running from the people. We're out here. We're ready to play. We're ready to go anywhere. My agent, Jeff Nally, is ready to talk to any team, interview with any team at any time. I've been ready. I'm staying ready. And I'll continue to be ready. And to all the people that came out here today to support, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. To the people that aren't here, I'm thinking of you. I appreciate you supporting from where you are. We'll continue to give you updates as we hear. We'll be waiting to hear from Roger Goodell, the NFL, the 32 teams. We'll let you know if we hear from them. Ball's in their court. We're ready to go.
There you go. Woo! Yeah. All right, Cap. You tell them. Yeah, boy. They are shaking in their boots there in the NFL. Oh, man.
What a joke of a press conference that was.
He's a joke.
He's
a joke.
He's clueless.
He's a joke. He's a joke. That's all. NFL's toying with you, dude. You don't want to play no quarterback. This is all for show. That's all it was. It was all for the cause. He doesn't want to be a quarterback. If he wanted to be a quarterback, he would have tried to be a quarterback in another league, and he would have been able to show up the NFL. But he chose not to. There you go. To me, this is the joke. Colin Kaepernick is the joke when it comes to all of this. He could easily schooled the NFL. Instead, he played right into the NFL's hands, and they have just toyed with him the entire time. Go Gators says, Tua's hip will never be the same. If he's going to get hurt like this and his early 20s, then imagine around his 30s. I'm with you all the way, Go Gators. There's no way I'm taking Tua at this point. And listen, a lot of you are getting off the bandwagon now. I got off of it last week. I didn't even need the hip injury. There's always a chance. Frank Gore had 2 surgeries, 2 knee surgeries, maybe a Hall of Famer. You never know. Hey, look, John, you are 1,000% right. There's always a chance. Hips are way worse than knees. It's not even close, the comparison between the two. It really isn't. The hip is something that nobody recovers from it. Nobody really ends up having the kind of career that they would like when they have that kind of a hip injury. And I know C.J. Mosley had, a hip injury. I get all that. But if, like Will Carroll said, if it's the same hip injury that he had, that Dennis Pitta had, that thing's going to pop out of socket. Think about this. I don't need just the hip. The guy already has had 3 surgeries. 2 on the ankles and now 1 on the hip in less than 2 years. That's disturbing. At every level, that's disturbing. There is no way I want a guy like that. I've never been a fan of injury-prone players because those guys are not reliable, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Now, what Joe Shad said was interesting. If you take him in the second round and then take another guy after, I don't have a problem with that. Like what they did with RG3 and Kirk Cousins, no problem. Like what Jimmy did with Steve Walsh and Troy Aikman, no problem. If you don't trust the kid because of the injury history or whatever, then have a backup plan. If there's another guy you like, obviously, Jimmy likes Steve Walsh, the mastermind, Shanahan, he loved Kirk Cousins. That was his guy. He didn't like RG3. That was the owner that wanted RG3. The owner's the one that fell in love with RG3. And the coach had to go along with it. So he goes, all right, you take that guy, but I'm going to take my guy in the 4th round in Kirk Cousins. And he was right for taking Kirk. If you're the Dolphins, that's a pretty smart move to take 2 quarterbacks. And I know you have Josh Rosen, but who cares? I've been a fan of this for many years now because as you all know, a lot of NFL teams only carry 2 quarterbacks now. Those of us that are older, if you're 35 and older, you grew up with NFL teams carrying 3 quarterbacks all the time. I'm the kind of guy that says in this new NFL, if you don't have a quarterback, you should have 3 on the roster. There should be 2 developmental quarterbacks and a veteran. That's the way it should be. If you have a stud starter, then you should have a young guy that you should be developing behind him. But if you have no quarterback, then you can have that Fitzpatrick guy, lying around, but you need to have 2 young guys. You can't put your eggs in one basket. You got to go with 2 guys that you can work on, develop, and whichever one breaks through, then that guy becomes your guy, and you give him the opportunity. That's what I would do. So I don't have a problem if you do draft, let's say, Tua in the 2nd round, and then you take another guy in the 3rd or 4th or 5th rounds. I have no problem with that. If there's a project you like, take him. That's why it's a project, and that's why you're taking them later on in the draft. What you don't do is take the Blaine Gabberts of the world and the Ryan Tannehills, number 3 and number 8 and number 7 overall. That's what you don't do. That's the stuff you want to stay away from. All right, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, that's 786-322-1105. Let me tell you about Caneswear. We love talking about bread and all the great people at Caneswear. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. That store is big and beautiful, and it is addicting, too, because you walk in there and you want to buy this, you want to buy that, you want to buy everything that they've got in that store, man. Tell them that Big O sent you. Brett and all the great people will take care of you, whether it's polos, sideline polos, whether it's the starter jackets. We had that cold front coming through. You want a little starters jackets? They can do that for you. They've got everything for men, women, kids, and the babies, too. We got to start them off early. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. If you're like me, you bleed orange and green. Go to Caneswear. They've got Dolphins. They've got Panthers. They've got Miami Heat, Marlins, and Inter Miami stuff, too. Go see Brett. Tell him that Big O sent you. Caneswear, Miami Fanwear. That's the spot where fans like me shop.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
I hope you guys got those kids singing in the background.
Sing for me.
Sing a song, sing it happy, sing it strong.
Sing it, sing for me, sunrise. Let me do a little Bruce Dickinson. Did you guys hear about Motley Crue? Apparently, Motley Crue is going to make a comeback, and they're going to make a comeback with two other bands. This is the rumor, at least, that's out there. My buddy just tweeted this out a little while ago, and I was not surprised that Motley Crue would make a comeback, because obviously all these bands end up making comebacks with the kind of money that's out there. But apparently Motley Crue is going to make a comeback with Def Leppard and Poison. How about that? Yeah. Here's how the story goes. According to Ultimate Classic Magazine, actually it's on loudwire.com is where I found this story. Actually, my buddy tweeted out. He found this story. I'm just retweeting the story that he found there. Here's how it reads. It says, the rumors appear to be true, as the Rolling Stones have reported, confirming that Motley Crue will reunite in 2020 and will embark on a stadium tour with Def Leppard and Poison. Now, I would imagine that Def Leppard is the headliner and Motley Crue opens up for them, right? That would make...
Just based on record sales?
It's not even
Def
close.
Leppard, no, it's not.
It's not even close.
Not to take anything away from Motley Crue, but nonetheless.
I love Motley Crue.
It's not anywhere. Pyromania and Hysteria, all-timers.
It's funny because I'll be going to that concert because I really want to see two of the three bands. Because Vince Neil can't sing anymore. It's ridiculous. Anyway, despite having signed a cessation of touring agreement, Motley Crue will reunite after completing their farewell tour on the 31st of December 2015. The band urged that this would indeed be their last ever performance, and the legal agreement would prohibit them from touring again. But there remained power for the band to regroup in an override loophole. A recent fan petition begging Motley Crue to come back was acknowledged by the band, furthering signaling their inevitable return. In the weeks leading up to this news, Poison frontman Bret Michaels forecasted a 2020 return for the group, noting that he was working on something incredible for the run. No tour dates or any other specifics have been reported as of yet. Upon releasing The Dirt, the band biopic issued by Netflix, which chronicled the band's ascent to rock stardom along with their personal tolls with their wild lifestyle, took on their personal lives. Motley Crue roared back into the spotlight. The soundtrack accompanying the film featured 3 brand new songs, leaving fans longing for their return. In the latest of what's been a stunning 3-week span for rock reunions, My Chemical Romance, Rage Against the Machine, and the Black Crowes also are staring down 2020 comebacks. There you go. What do you think about that? Huh, folks? What do you think about that?
Let's be honest. We're talking arenas. We're not talking football stadium, or we're talking baseball. We're talking
arenas.
Fenway 30.
They didn't say
arenas.
stadiums.
Okay. Arenas, little 20,
Yeah, I think
15,000, 20,
I think
22.
No, because if it's Def Leppard, you're going to be able to fill a lot. Well, once you have
You
Def
could do a
Leppard,
BB&T.
Motley,
You could do a BB&T.
Oh, easy.
Yeah. You
No,
could do
easy.
You could do that.
Def Leppard's been doing those kind of places by
Exactly.
themselves.
Yep.
So I would. They came to BB&T a couple times already.
I want to say one of the times I saw them, it was Poison, them, and was it Lita Ford?
Yes, it was Lita Ford.
It was Lita
Yeah,
Ford.
it was
Okay.
Poison, Lita
All
Ford,
right.
and Def Leppard.
All right.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. We're on the right side of the stage. I remember that. It was a good concert, too, man. That was a fun concert. Let me see something here. No, it says stadium tour. So they are doing stadiums.
That's what, okay, so yes,
So they'll come
I
to
am
the Hard
correct.
Rock.
We're talking, small stadiums. We're talking Fenways. We're talking Miami, Miami Marlins Stadium, 37-30. We're not talking 60, 70, 80.
You mean, okay,
You're
that's
not
a good
gonna
point.
blow out football,
Okay.
60, 70,000. You're talking little 37s and 40s.
No, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. That's why when it said
you
stadium,
could be right.
like, no, you ain't going big time, bro.
Yeah, no.
You're not the Eagles. You're not the Rolling Stones. You're
No, you
not
could be right.
U2, right?
Yeah, no, you could be right. Yeah, no. Yeah, they would have trouble packing Hard Rock, and that's funny because Guns N' Roses could easily do Hard Rock, and they went to the baseball stadium because Guns N' Roses could fill out Hard Rock 2 nights in a row if they wanted to. If they wanted to do 2 nights at the Hard Rock, they could fill out Hard Rock Stadium. By the way, not Hard Rock Live over at the Hard Rock Hotel.
Oh,
I'm
no,
talking
that
about-
would be a 2-week camp out.
Yeah.
2 weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks there.
Yeah. No, but you're right. I didn't think about it that way. You're right. Def Leppard would have to go to stadiums, but smaller type stadiums. FAU, FIU, and the baseball stadium, not Hard Rock. That's what would be available. But FIU doesn't really hold concerts. Has FAU ever had a concert? Do they ever hold concerts? I don't think I've ever been to one. I don't remember even them. And why not, by the way? Oh, maybe it's because it's inside the school. Since it's inside the property, maybe that's why they haven't done it. But that's kind of crazy, right? You would figure FAU would take advantage. That's such a nice stadium. They did such a nice job with that stadium. I hope
We don't want all you hooligans coming and tearing up our field in our neighborhood.
All I know is I hope one day either FAU or FIU are like really, really, really good. Not the little, snapshot success that they have every once in a while and they're able to do something in their little conference and all that. I'm talking about Studley. It would be really cool for those fan bases to really enjoy that. Having the on-campus stadium and having all those alumni that you guys have, wow. That's the other thing that would be pretty awesome. No doubt about that. All right, 786-322-1105. We are tracking Brian Flores and seeing if he is going to take the podium. Sometimes he takes it a little early, so you never know. So we'll keep you updated on that. We will carry the Brian Flores press conference for you in a few minutes here, and whenever he addresses the media, we will be there for you. Yesterday in the NFL, Raiders beat the Bengals 17-10. Are you a Raiders believer? And I got to tell you something. Look, and it's not because I didn't believe in John Gruden. I still don't. I still got to see a lot more before I believe in John Gruden. But at 6-4, are the Raiders for real? Is the question. Because yesterday I'm watching ESPN, and they're giving the Raiders praise and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they're 6-4. But every time I see a victory, it's not necessarily a great team. And yesterday, I'm like, Cincinnati Cincinnati's terrible.
When I saw that score, I was like, go Cincinnati, get a win and, run us down. Come on.
I would love for Cincinnati to surprise them yesterday, and they couldn't. And it was 17-10. So Cincinnati drops to 0-10, and Oakland goes up to 6-4. Now, let's go over the 6 Oakland wins. They beat Denver, who's 3-7. They beat Indy, who's 6-4. They beat Chicago, who's 4-6. They beat Detroit, who's 3-6. They beat the Chargers, who are 4-6, and Cincinnati, that's 0-10. Do you know what the combined winning percentages is of those teams? 341. You know what the combined percentages are of the 4 losses? 4, 1 at Kansas City, who's 6-4. Minnesota, who's 8-3. Green Bay, who's 8-2. And Houston, who's 6-4. Do you know what the combined winning percentages are? 681. Nearly 700. You're beating the teams that are averaging in the 300 area of winning percentage, and you're losing to the teams in the 600 area. That's where I would say, Raiders, nice start, but you're not real. You're just not real. And watching that game yesterday, that's why I wanted to go look it up, because you beat the Bengals 17-10. Are you kidding me? You couldn't do better than that? It's the Bengals. They've got a crappy coach, a young coach that isn't ready to do this job. They're a mediocre football team. And you can barely beat the Bengals, the Raiders. Come on, man. That is just brutal there. I saw that, and it was like, I had to look into it because it's just hard for me to buy still the Raiders, even at 6-4. And now I know why I don't buy them at 6-4, because they're frauds. Now, good news, Dolphins. The Falcons beat the Panthers 29-3. They improved to 3-7. So they got their 3rd win, which is huge. Now, the other development in this one was Kyle Allen. 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He now has 10 touchdowns and 9 interceptions on the season. Sounds pretty pedestrian to me. Are they still set on building with Kyle Allen? Or after the performance yesterday, they're like, hey, Cam, how you feeling? How you doing, Cam? Huh? Can't wait for you to come back next year. Are they doing that? Are they like, yeah, you know what? The kid's turned into a pumpkin. Yeah, he's done. He's no longer a prince. He's a frog right now. Let's go back to Cam. Yeah, we know what he is, but he's way better than what we got here with Kyle Allen. I saw that yesterday. I saw 4 interceptions, and I was like, uh-oh. I know what's going on here. This isn't good. Jets, not that we want the Jets to win, but we needed the Jets to win yesterday. They picked up their 3rd win. They beat the Skins, which was the bad news, because technically having Washington win their 2nd game probably would have been better, but Washington stays at 1-9. Jets are 3-7. So now the Jets pull away from the Dolphins, and they're behind them in the draft order. But Washington at 1-9. And Haskins, I'll give him credit. He played slightly better, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and was 19 of 35. Saints defeat the Bucs 34-17. Bucs dropped to 3-7. Jameis Winston, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions yesterday. How is it that you count and tolerate Jameis Winston? I'll admit, I thought he was going to turn into a good quarterback. And I couldn't have been more wrong, and this is the part that physically Jameis lacks nothing. But mentally, It's the weirdest thing in the world because he's not really dumb. He lacks common sense, but he's not a dumb guy. He's a book smart guy. And yet, you watch him out there and he commits stupid errors on a consistent basis. Blows you away.
Does not his stock go down considering the coach?
There is no stock.
Yeah,
there's no stock. That's my point.
If he can't get this kid righted,
no,
forget about it. Right?
He's done. Vikings scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. Come back on the Bears, 27-23.
Excuse me, that's not my Bears lost to the Rams. Sunday night.
Sorry,
that was Denver.
Broncos.
That.
I'm sorry, not
yeah,
Bears.
23-0 and 27
points in the fourth quarter for the Vikings against the Broncos.
27 unanswered. They were up 23-0.
Yeah, but 20 of it was in the fourth quarter. To score 20 points in the fourth quarter, dude. Wow. That's painful. Well, the Broncos are painful. The good thing is they're 3-7.
I was going to say, did Denver's offense even touch the field? You know what I mean? It's like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3, right?
In the second half, they certainly didn't do it like they did in the first half. Colts beat the Jags 33-13. Colts improved to 6-4. They got back Brissett, who only threw for 148 yards and a touchdown and an interception. Foles passed the ball 47 times in that game against that defense. The Colts don't have a great defense, but I don't know if I want Foles passing the ball 47 times in a game. If you're a mediocre to average quarterback, I'm not comfortable with you throwing the ball 40-something times. The Pats defeated the Eagles yesterday, 17-10. They're 9-1. Eagles dropped to 5-5. Rams beat the Bears, 17-7. Rams are now 6-4. Trubisky ended up getting benched because of the hip, whatever. I don't know if it was, but apparently it was bothering him. And he was again, another guy, 43 passes.
No, it wasn't. He just sucks.
Okay? Yeah, that's what he is. What are you going to do? The 49ers and the Cards were going back and forth. Niners ended up winning that game 36-26. Niners improved to 9-1. Arizona 3-7-1. Garoppolo 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 424 yards. Kyler Murray 150 yards passing. I will say this. With Kyler, they've done all right, but I can't say that he has any kind of explosive numbers. If I pull up his stats for the season, I know that they're not really that impressive overall. That's the thing. It's not like he is.
You know what it is, man? Because I've seen probably 3 or 4 of their games. He is a gamer. When when the more crunch, the less time. That's when this kid shines.
Yeah, he finds a way of making plays.
And honestly, the score does not reflect what happened in Arizona. If they don't do something stupid and leave a linebacker on that running back on that 3rd or 4th down play, that ended up going for the touchdown, Arizona was every bit in that game.
He's passed for 2,703 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not great numbers, but not bad numbers. The completion percentage is outstanding, 72% his completion percentage. Now, in yards, I'll give you his game logs: 150, 324, 241, 220, 140. Things like that. It's not like he's.
Well, you said 2,200 yards, 10 games. That's 220 a game.
Yeah.
But the thing that's nice, 14 of 5 TD to interception.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And 73%.
73 is outstanding. You got to be
obviously
65 and up.
A lot of underneath, a lot of 5-6 yard passes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But he's done a better job than I thought. I still worry about him with his size and if he gets hurt and he gets hit. Yesterday, he ran the ball several times, 8 times for 67 yards. But that's something that you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful because you don't want your quarterback running around all over the place.
He had a nice touchdown run.
Yeah, no, kid's got wheels, man. But it's funny. He doesn't really light it up all the time.
He does have moxie. A gamer.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got heart.
And he's got the coach that knows what he is and calls the game to what suits his talents, which is really cool and really smart on his part. And again, that's a credit to the coach because he had the same vision. Now, I don't know if he's going to be able to manage the whole team or anything like that, but at least for the quarterback, I really understand what Kingsbury's doing with the kid, and it makes a lot of sense. Whether Kingsbury turns out to be a really good head coach and a winner at this level, that's a whole different
That's what I was just going to ask you. Has he won you over? Because I know that you didn't buy.
No, I don't buy him still. I still don't buy him because it's more than just your quarterback. I got to see what you can do and build a team overall. They've only won 3 games. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're lighting it up and beating all kinds of people. Now we'll find out. Let's see what we got here on the chat board on YouTube. To be fair, one interception Jameis threw to O.J. Howard was on Howard for bobbling the ball, and a Saints linebacker took it from him. You're right about that, but it's still 4 interceptions. Let's see. I love my Raiders, but they screwed the pooch by not covering the spread and crapped on my money. Okay. I took Buffalo, the Jets, and the Cowboys. All right. Got to watch the Raiders, man. But maybe I have enlightened some of you on what's going on with the Raiders, and now you know why they're 6-4, because they're not really beating quality teams at this point. That's the thing.
It's still, considering this is their last year in Oakland, it would be a nice story if somehow they made it to the playoffs for the fans. It'd be a good send-off story. Okay?
Yeah, I hope that,
the Raiders fans deserve that.
I hope they do make the playoffs just for the heck of it, even though I don't think they'll make much of a difference. But you're right. Excuse me. For the team, for the players, it would be huge. It would be enormous. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. When we come back, Brian Flores. We'll have the Brian Flores press conference and our reaction next.
Plus tax tag title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're
all right, here we go with Brian Flores.
Yeah, I mean, they played well, both guys, but again, it's football, so you need a team effort. So one or two guys can play well, and it's still not enough. So you need as many guys. Really, we need all 46 guys at the game to play well and contribute. And we talked about that. We didn't get that accomplished. But, yeah, there was a couple bright spots. But at the end of the day, even, they'll tell you, an individual effort's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for a good team effort.
You guys look like you were trending the right way, with your offensive line, at least with the way you were pass blocking in the last game. There was a lot of sacks given up. I know there was one change
wouldn't say that was the one. Julian went in there and started. I would say that was the issue. I think Buffalo played well. I thought they did some things in the front that were a little bit not different, but tough to block, and you got to have really good communication, really good execution to get it handled. We didn't do that yesterday, but we need to play better. There were some instances where it was just bad technique, bad fundamentals, and we got beat one-on-one in some situations, and we just had to play better. There's games like that. This is how it is, really, I would say, for, week to week. It's a different matchup, different scheme, different communication, different set of issues, and we didn't execute yesterday.
Honestly, offensive line, you had a coaching change, big trade involving left tackle, you had injuries. With all that, over the course of this year, how much progress do you feel like you made in laying a foundation for what you want?
Based off of yesterday, and I would say the last few weeks, it looked like it was moving in the right direction, and I still feel like it's moving in the right direction, but definitely a setback yesterday, and we have to play better on the offensive line, and really not, I don't want to put it all on the O-line. It's everybody. It starts with me, but coaches, players, we got to do a better job executing. We got to do a better job with our communication, our fundamentals, our technique, and just overall, it's got to be better.
With Davenport, how do you come through?
We're still, it's early in the week. He got dinged. A couple other guys got dinged. So, Monday, they come in, they get evaluated, and then we'll see how it goes throughout the course of the week.
Bobby McCain?
Same.
Neither of those guys know
It's early. It's, it's still so early. We're still kind of going through the evaluation, so still early. No, we just look. We're always going to put the group we feel is best, for play against that opponent. So we're always going to put the best 5 guys out there. And that's how we felt going into yesterday's game. A few things that went into it, but always going to put the best 5 out there.
Did Josh Allen do with his arm yesterday surprise you guys?
No, he's a good player. He's obviously a talented quarterback, and he's made a lot of plays this year and a year ago. So he's a good young player, and wasn't really surprising. We knew that was the case, and we were going to have to play well against that entire offense, and we didn't do enough good things. It's, again, if it's a one-man show, or it's not a one-man show, I should say. I think Jerome made some plays he didn't, but that's the case for everybody. But I think we just have to learn from this game, make the corrections, turn the page, and move on. Which is, they're still in meetings right now and making those corrections, and we'll move on and hopefully play better next week. There's a chance. There's always a chance. Obviously, he made a big play. He made a couple big plays for us. So, yeah, there's a chance.
We've seen you, organization decided to give Allen Hurns an extension. What can you tell us about what went into that?
Allen's a good player. He's tough. He's dependable. He's a smart player. We like him. I think he has a lot of qualities we're looking for in our players, and we're happy to have him. I think we want to be creative in really all areas: offense, defense, special teams. And we try to do that on a week-to-week basis. Something we've got a creative group of coaches. So, but when, how, that kind of ties into play calling. So, every week we're trying to be creative. I think a better everything, a better block, better set of blocks. It wasn't just one. It was, we could have blocked it. I would say a lot better, but we didn't. And again, that's part of the execution, the fundamentals, the execution. We just didn't get it accomplished. I thought it was a good play call. Got what we wanted, but they made the play. We didn't.
Did yesterday move you any closer to finding a way to utilize your three running backs, Gaskin, Laird, and Elijah?
I would say not necessarily. I think we didn't get the run game going, so we've got to find a better way to do that. Again, and that's everybody. That's O-line. That's tight ends. It's backs, the receivers. It's quarterback getting us in the good plays and play calling and the whole deal. We've got to be better, and it's something we've talked about for consecutive weeks now, and we'll just keep working at it.
You're comfortable with how you use them as far as first down, second down, third down. Did Gaskin get a couple more second down looks yesterday?
Yeah, he was in there. I mean, yeah, I'm comfortable with how we're using him. It's Devontae. It's I think he's since I've gotten here, he's worked hard in the classroom, on the field. He's worked on his technique, his catching the football, running with it, blocking. He's smart, and he's gone out there and he's taken it from the practice field to the game, and he's done a good job. So it's Devontae. He's done a really good job. We felt like, Fitz gave us the best chance.
Flo, somebody mentioned that Gary Jennings might have been injured during a celebration. Is that the case? And if so, do you talk to your players about, chill out a little bit?
Yeah, he got dinged. It's he's being evaluated, and we'll see how things go with him. I think as far as whether or not it was on it's I think we want our guys to celebrate, and but that's speculatory on how he got injured. So. I think, look, anytime you lose two starters, it has an effect on your team, offense, defense, or special team. So he's both good players. So they're both working their way back. Hopefully, we get them back soon, and I think they definitely help us.
There you go. That's the head coach, Brian Flores, of your Miami Dolphins. Not really any real breaking news or anything there. The Julian Davenport and Bobby McCain injuries, we got no updates on that. Didn't really elaborate either on how Julian Davenport played until he got injured. Jerome Baker didn't elaborate on the rip job that he gave Jerome Baker on the sidelines. Alan Hearns talked about the contract, how much they liked him, and all that good stuff. And obviously, Alan had a terrible Sunday coming off that new contract. That was a tough one for the young man and for the Miami Dolphins, obviously, on this week. But hey, what are you going to do? But not really anything earth-shattering in that press conference with Brian Flores on a week where, hey, it was one where I wouldn't call it a setback. I know he called it kind of a setback. They are what they are. And he's not going to say that. He can't say the things I can say. He's got to keep it positive. He's got to keep that spin. And I think the wins have helped him in a way, too, because that narrative of tanking and that narrative that you've given up and you're not trying, that was pissing him off because he's busting his ass with his staff, and those players are trying to win. And, see, I disagree with people that think the front office is trying to lose because they've done everything to help the coaching staff win. But they're doing it with their specifications to all of this. and that is through youth. They're not going to go acquire older players and veteran players that might be slightly better, but they're not going to be paying those salaries, and they're not going to go for big free agents and things like that because they don't want to give away those big signing bonuses. They're going to be more disciplined now. And that's where people, I think, misinterpret what the front office is doing, because literally people think that Chris Greer and Reggie McKenzie and Marvin Allen, all these guys are sitting back there going, all right, how can we sabotage the team this week? And that's not what they're doing. They never thought about going out and sabotaging their own team. They are going through a different philosophy. And the philosophy is we are going to build through youth. We're not building through veterans. I don't know why it's really that hard to understand, because just watch what they're doing. Every time they acquire people, it's 90% of the time they're young. If they acquire anybody that's got some years on them, it's solely out of desperation because they ran out of good young options, or the best young options. Let me not say good. Fortunately, folks. That's the difference. And that's why I think the wins really helped him out, because that sold to him, that was what he needed to sell to everybody out there, that, hey, we're trying here. And the front office is the one that's acquiring Taco Charlton for them. And the front office is the one that brings in Mark Walton. And the front office is the one that brings in Ryan Fitzpatrick. If they really wanted to lose, they would have kept Luke Falk here. Okay? Or David Fales forward fast. And they would have had those guys back up Josh Rosen. That way, you had no shot with either guy. That's not what they did. If they really wanted to sabotage the team, like some people think out there. Which, again, it's freaking hilarious to think that, to be honest. The good news is we didn't hear any bad news overall. I'm hoping that the Bobby McCain one doesn't look good. That's one that I would not be surprised if he ends up on the IR when it's all said and done. But let's hope so. Let's hope Julian Davenport doesn't have a serious injury. He can get back out there. He needs the playing time in a bad way. All right, we thank Joe Shad from the Palm Beach Post for joining us. We thank, of course, Bill. Exceptional work as always. We thank, most of all of you out there for tuning in. But more importantly, the downloads, because obviously when we podcast these hours, and we did almost 4 hours today on the program, when we podcast them, the response has been amazing. And the hundreds and thousands of downloads that are coming in.
You guys are killing it.
Yes, are awesome, and we thank you for all of that. So we will see you tomorrow.
Oh.
We got a loaded show tomorrow.
Did you mention that NorCal said that there's more rooms on the block in Vegas?
Oh, yes, we have more rooms. NorCal, the link is on my Twitter page.
That guy bust his butt.
It's pinned up there, so if you want to join us in Vegas for the NFL Draft and you want to be in the same hotel that we're going to be in, go to our Twitter page at Big O Show, and it's pinned at the top. Reach out to Mark. The links are there. You can stay in the same hotel as us, and more importantly, get the group rate, which is going to save you a lot of
for
money.
That weekend. Yes.
All right, you all be good out there. Take it easy.
Thank you, guys.